What is going on, everybody? Malik here, back in my zone, on the floor. And guys, it's Saturday. I hope you're having a wonderful 3-day weekend. And yo, it's the last day of the second week of our final stage here at the Overwatch League. And things are getting kind of crazy. It's been a very interesting week. Now, today, we have our top team in the league, the NYXL, going up against the Shanghai Dragons, and the Dallas Fuel going up against the Philadelphia Fusion. A match that I think is going to be pretty interesting because there's some Stage 4 playoff implications there. But we're kicking off the day with a match between the London Spitfire and the Seoul Dynasty. There's a lot of fans of those two teams in here. Now, coming into the league, these were two of the most feared teams. They were teams to beat. But here in Stage 4, they've been struggling a little bit to find their footing under this new meta. And with the recent skids both of these teams have been having, they both very much need this W. So Blizzard Arena, you guys ready to get the day started? Say no more. Let's go ahead and get this payload moving.
Me? I missed you too. Boy, it feels good. I'm your host, Chris Puckett, and today we got match number 200 of the regular season coming at you. And to bring you the games, I brought in some youngsters. We got the Brit, Young Brennan, AKA the 13th worst Genji in your lobby, as well as the great Crumbs here, who is formerly in Masters at the start of Stage 4.
It lasted for 1 week, so you take it.
I take it.
And you hold on.
Now, props to you, Crumbs.
You got the medal.
Props to you, mate.
You got the medal. That's important. I've got a platinum one now, and I'm happy about it. Let's look at the schedule for today. As we mentioned, number 200 of the regular season is coming your way, and that's going to be with the Dynasty facing off against the Spitfire. A little bit later, though, we get a chance to keep our eyes on the Fusion, as well as the #1 team in the league in the New York XL. For now, let's jump into that first match of the day, because we're opening it up with two squads that, if you look at the overall standings, they're still very much at the top of it. Two of the biggest names in the league with the Seoul Dynasty and the London Spitfire. And guys, let's take a look at these standings and really talk about how they got here, because most of the work at the start is where it occurred. And you see Seoul, they were as high as number 3. Where are they at currently, Bren?
Yeah, I mean, now they're number 7. And I mean, this is mainly because they picked up a couple of wins in Stage 1, 2, and 3. But now, you know, while they're slipping a little bit, it's starting to add that question mark. You know, can Seoul start to come back and really battle back into a position?
And remember, only the top 6 are going to be playing in those season playoffs. We also have a Stage 4 playoffs with 125 grand here in about 3 weeks. What's our Stage 4 looking like right now?
So Stage 4 is really looking like who has the better grasp on the meta will be at the top of both playoffs and Stage 4 playoffs. And you have Los Angeles, both teams. What a treat for this city that both of these guys have been undefeated so far. And it's shaking up to be nothing like we expected in the first stage.
We saw London's at 1-2. Seoul is 0-3 currently in Stage 4. Both squads with 19 wins or more. So let's talk about where the teams are at currently, starting with this London squad. What do we know about this team? Why are they struggling as of late?
So what we know about London is that this is the only team that has actually beaten New York when it counts. They were able to take them down in the Stage 1 finals, and to me that means that they have the most potential right now. It's all about going back to that championship form for them. Today, this match will be just that. They need to make sure that their synergies are on point, and they start building up to making sure that they get to playoffs. It doesn't matter if they get there at last, but if they get there, they can win it.
And let's take a look at some of the matches earlier in the week. We saw London, of course, was matching up against San Francisco. Seoul went the distance against the Valiant.
They really did, yeah. And these were some fantastic matches, to be honest, in my opinion. San Francisco showed all the way into the distance for London. And realistically, a win for London here that they're going to be very pleased that they got, because this is a team that wasn't doing too well earlier in the stages. Now that they've sort of cut down onto the roster a little bit, they can streamline it. And now they are seeing a better result. So this match today against Seoul, it's going to be an important one for them to really prove that they are capable of remaining in that top spot right now when it comes to the playoffs.
All right, as we take a look at the matchup, I have to ask you guys who has been playing well. We're in week 2 here of Stage 4. If you're looking for some stars today, who are you looking at, Crumbs?
Well, you know, I would be looking at Jaehong, but he's been playing all sorts of different things. We even saw him try Widowmaker and Doomfist before. This was the guy that started out as the Flex Zenyatta and Ana into Winston now. So I'm looking at them right now, although the rest of the squad needs to step up and have Fleta actually carry because he was able to beat down Pine, and that's exciting. I love these snipers.
Anyone excited to see Fleta today from the Seoul Dynasty? Yeah? One of the league's best? Pretty pumped for that one. Bren, I know you got some concerns for Seoul today, though. What are they?
Yeah, so Seoul have been going into these matches. They haven't really had a game plan in mind, realistically. When you watch them, they seem a little bit uncoordinated when it comes to that. In particular, I really want to focus on Miro in particular as well, because he hasn't been playing as well on the main tank role in recent memory. And this guy, he used to be a champion, you know? He's a 2017 World Cup champion. And it's really kind of this fall from grace in a way, and he hasn't caught up to the way main tank is supposed to be played these days. Now, he is back. For a while, Ryu Jae-hong was playing the main tank role for him, and this squad was having a few problems because of that. But now he is going to be playing more main tank for them, and he says he has been working on it. I know on social media, he's been taking it very seriously. He wants to improve it himself. But as you can see here, comparing to the league averages, they're just slightly below the mark. He does better actually when it comes to the deaths per 10 minutes, so he has been stepping up recently. So I do have high hopes. If Miro plays well in this matchup here today, Seoul has a chance to really take it against London, where they are kind of the underdogs in this match.
Keep in mind, this was once the greatest tank on the planet. A guy who has helped South Korea win multiple World Cup titles. So Miro, keep your eyes on this man today. But if you've been watching Seoul, you know that they have another big name on the squad, Jae-hong. He was one of the most famous players in all of Overwatch, one of the best Zenyatas on the planet. He's been forced to play main tank. We've seen him recently playing DPS this week. What's going on with the Seoul rosters and the roles?
Yeah, that's why I want to keep my eyes on Jae-hong specifically, because I get the feeling that Seoul, while they did most of the hard work at the start of the season, right now, I think that this could be a case of what Sun Tzu says. When you are strong, you feign weakness. And so the fact that they looked so uncoordinated last time, it was against New York, a match you don't expect them to win. They could just be throwing other teams for a loop. If they look at that tape, they underestimate them, and they snatch some wins to make it into playoffs.
You know what Sun Tzu also said in the Art of War, though, as well? Thou that does not have a main tank loses. So, you know, if Seoul really would have win today, they're going to step it up. You know, we won't go into it, comes in detail, mate, but, you know, I'm pretty sure he did say it at some point.
I know Miro's had a rough time recently. Today, he's going up against Gesture. I expect both main tanks to put on a show. Are you guys ready to meet our players? Let's bring them out. Starting with the squad from Seoul, please show some love for the Dynasty. One of the most feared rosters when we first announced this lineup for the Overwatch League. Some of the biggest names in the game. They've had their ups, they've had their downs this season. Now is the time to pick up your first major win in Stage 4. You can still break into the Stage 4 playoffs. And of course, you need to finish in the top 6 if you want to be playing for the big money at the end of the season. And that was the entire goal of this squad the whole time around.
And you hit it right on the head there, Puckett. This team has all these veterans, and that's why we understand that they, at any point, can bring it back and show us that potential of a championship team. That's what we want to see. The pieces are there. They're getting to work. I think that right now, if Jae-hong shows up and actually delivers, we're going to have a closer series than expected.
So many fans making noise for this squad, especially that man right there, Brent.
Yeah, for me, this entire squad, if they start playing like they used to, again, we've mentioned it before, veteran players, these guys are champions. If they can play up to that similar level that they have in the past, I have no doubts in my mind that they'll be able to claw up those leaderboards and get a spot in the overall playoffs. Right now, this is where they start to prove it. The journey begins right here.
This takes me back to the Apex days. These players so familiar with each other back from competing in South Korea. Now they're doing it here in the Blizzard Arena. We always know it's a toss-up when they battle. So far, London has had Seoul's number, but I'm looking for that man. If Seoul is going to get the win, look for Fleta to lead the charge. That is the look at the starting 6 for your Seoul Dynasty. Fellas, pick a player first.
It's Fleta. He beat Pine in Sniper Wars. You got to watch this guy.
Brent, you agree with that?
I do agree with that completely. Fleta is the man you need to enable.
All right, all three of us going with Fleta. It's time to find out who does he need to shut down on the other side of the stage as we bring in the London Spitfire. London has pared down their roster. They are focused. They know who is going to be in the starting lineup. And one of the key fixtures, of course, is that tall main tank Gesture right there. But the guy right behind him as well. Birdring looked back in his last matchup.
Yeah, Birdring looked absolutely stellar, being able to play Sniper to the level that we know he can, coming off of that injury. But what I really like about this team now is the support synergies that are enabling that Bird Ring, that Jester in the front line, and even Fury, the synergy that this team is working with is spreading from every member to each other, and it's becoming a joy to watch.
This squad has always been one of my favorites to watch. I got that hometown love coming from them, despite the fact that I'm not actually from London. But this is a squad that has always had that potential there, and they are still high up in the playoff standings. They're not actually out of it just yet, and they are going to be working hard. You know, they recently made a few of their members inactive, and now that they've, again, shored up this roster a little bit, they are showing more signs of life. So I got high hopes for it. We've got to go back to the point that I really want to hammer home is the fact that Bird Ring has really sort of come back from the dead, it feels like. This guy, he was sick. He wasn't playing as well in stage 3, but now in stage 4, he has stepped it up tremendously. That's the point I want to make, is the fact that he has turned around this slumping stage that he's been in now, and this is the man who is realistically going to be keeping Fleta in check. If there's anyone who's going to be doing it, it's going to be Bird Ring.
Brad, before we go to the match, got to ask you real quick, at their best, who would you rather have on your team, Bird Ring or Fleta?
Wow.
It's got to be Fleta. I think when Fleta's playing a peak performance, he can put anyone in check. He is honestly a superstar DPS, but Bird Ring, when he's playing well and Fleta's having a bit of an off day, that's where the real magic is.
We'll see what Bird Ring has to say about that. There's a look at our starting 12. The match is ready. Are you guys ready? Blizzard Arena, it's time to get it started as we send it to our casters. It's Semler and Hex. You're welcome.
Thank you, Puckett. I'm so happy that you're feeling well again. Welcome back to the desk, bro. I mean, it's good to have Puckett back hosting. Malik was owning it for sure, but the baby Blues, man, you can't do without him.
It's all right.
You got a bit of blue here.
It's okay. It's all right.
He's all right to use this Hex. Come on. You got to back me up on this. Teamwork. Let's go.
I love the Puckett.
We're gonna come up with like a Puckett sign one of these days. Seriously, it's like Puckett, you know, like the guys.
I'll
in the
just
crowd.
bring one of my several from home already.
I'll
take one.
You have up on the wall.
One from my shrine, and I'll bring it here. You know, my Puckett shrine.
Do a little frame picture of it with some candles at night.
It is creepy.
It is. All right, this is a creepy conversation. So let's go ahead and make sure that we are ready to get into the game and make sure that our mics are actually close enough so that you guys can hear us clearly at home. You know, that's kind of important.
To the detriment of everyone involved.
Indeed. Mute. Okay. We're going to get into the game, guys. It is obviously going to be the Seoul Dynasty versus the London Spitfire. We're going to be kicking things off on King's Row here. First match of the day, and it is happening on one of my favorite maps.
I mean, it's a hometown map for London, you would think. The record's going into this not good for either team, really. 1-5 for Seoul, 3-5 for the London Spitfire here. But it's this matchup overall is just stunning to me that where these teams are. You would expect this to be a battle between number 2 and number 3. If you would have talked in stage 1, you'd be like, oh man, this has got to be the grand finals matchup, isn't it? And now both these teams struggling just to kind of keep their heads above water. Performances haven't looked great recently, especially Seoul. Yesterday looked just kind of lost. Recently against common opponents, you know, London beat San Francisco, Seoul lost to San Francisco. San Francisco's on the up and up, so let's just see where either of these teams are at. I would definitely give London a small edge just based on recent performances.
I'd give them a big one.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I'd give them a big one just because now they don't have that roster insecurity in terms of like, oh, who's stepping in, who's stepping out? Are we constantly swapping things up? Are we constantly guessing? It's like, no.
Yeah.
These are the players. This is the team. Now we make it work, and everybody knows there's no lack of confidence there. You've made the cut if you're playing for London right now.
They looked really loose on the way through on the walkout, too. But Notion was dancing. He's got some moves on him, too. So we're going to kick it off here on King's Row, and this is where the meta has developed into. We do have a Ryan and Zarya double sniper on the offense, and defensively, of course, an Orisa. And then the Junkrat's just gonna be trying to rain in damage. Now, keep an eye on Zumba here, because he should be able to get some free charge with this Junkrat spam.
So they're already on that point. Fury's gonna go ahead and contest just a little bit. Don't wanna let him get too comfortable here, as London are gonna be the ones on the defense. Jester dropping dangerously low, and Miro pounces. Got the Zarya bubble there to make sure that he survives. And well, we just kind of lost track of Miro. There he is. He disappeared for a while there in the hallways, but he's back on the point, and they've got 2 ticks and counting.
Murderman's able to take down Zuma, which is actually a big deal because it resets the Zarya charge. They're going to be able to come back in on this, and that means that D.Va should have a little longer lifespan. We'll just toss his body onto the point for Fury. This one is super back and forth. The Dragon is up, not going to need it.
Oh, with Keen's positioning there, just allowing him to get off those scatters, doing maximum hurt, maximum damage, and they will pick up the point. London not quite able to hold. Bit of a surprise there at the start, but the pressure was on from Seoul Dynasty, and Miro showing some of his old flair, just showing no fear, just charging in. Look at this. Yeah, right into the mix and then into the hallway. Let's go.
It's a spotlight player for them. They've struggled on the main tank position, Miro in particular, and now he feels like he's back. And then it allows you to put your best players on their best heroes. Jaehong almost has Transcendence already on that Zenyatta play. They're going to stick with the Hanzo and Widow as we go through street space here. Now going to probably hold on to this Dragon because Zumba's at 70%. Yeah. If Zumba were at maybe 50, you fire it through, then you think you can line them up again next time. But it's a combo-based meta right now.
Exactly, and there's a big pick. Prophet plays Fleta out. So Seoul Dynasty now, they will not quite be able to get in. Never mind, Miro decides to go for the Shatter, catches Fury, not gonna get the DMAC follow-up. Instead, they lose their healer. Both healers here for Seoul Dynasty dead.
Yeah, we're gonna talk a lot about Miro today on main tank, but his counterpart is still one of the best main tanks in the league. Gesture has been since day one. He continues to play very, very well on that main tank, even though he's on the Winston here. It's a little bit interesting to see that the dive tanks are continuing into this. Fury's gonna have a rough go of it because Zumba is the natural diva counter. You can't defense matrix the Zarya weapon, you just get kind of beamed down, but it is a counter to the Graviton, which is almost ready. If you can eat a grab, you've already done your job.
Exactly. That is going to be the main concern here for Zumba, whether the D-Matrix is up or not. Getting all that energy, though, so the damage that he can crank out is starting to get pretty significant.
You can't go in anymore because you lost the follow-up to the Graviton right there. Losing your Hanzo early means that the Graviton has to stay in the pocket. They have to back all the way up. Gesture continues to just chase people down, pop Primal Rage early, but that's the only ult they had to use to win that fight. Now they've got 5 other ones just waiting.
Yeah, Prophet's about to get that tire online here very shortly. So Wakid still on the Hanzo, still hunting. But now London, they're just gonna go ahead and back up and let the Ocean volley Wakid in the face. Fleta hits a headshot on Murdering though, so we are trading DPS here, 1 for 1 on these teams. But the tire's coming in, looking for an angle right on top of him. Miro is dead. And again, Seoul Dynasty, they just keep losing players, and that's not allowing them to push forward here and take a fight on the payload.
Well, economically, it works out so well for them because they've only had to use a single ult every time, and they're taking down key targets to the next push. That was just a tire there. Yes, Infrasight was popped, and Infrasight does help out those tires, tracking down the targets that they need to. So far, they've denied them from ever getting the combo in. Miro has switched off of the Reinhardt. He's back onto the Winston instead.
So perhaps going to be able to get just a little bit more aggressive. Exactly. Going to get that Zarya bubble. Fury's hanging around. He's got his self-destruct, and Wakid will eventually find the kill on Gesture. Now things are looking up here for Seoul Dynasty. Nuts will revive Gesture, but there it is. We will have the grab thrown in. Fury, the only one really caught in it. Apart from Gesture, that is.
Fury somehow gets out alive just for the moment, but there is that Zarya coming in to take him out later as well. And they do clean it all the way up. The kill onto Gesture really hurts them because Gesture had been leading the server in eliminations and final blows on the Winston, no less.
Yeah, on the Winston. I mean, Gesture right now, he's like, oh, you guys are having experiencing doubts when it comes to your tanks. Here, let me allow you how to show you how it's done. I mean, Wakid, he'll be keeping this rolling here as London Spitfire lose Birdering. And they're right on the edge of picking up the second point. London Spitfire, however, should be able to get in here and contest at the last moment. They're just waiting for the rest of the team to gather up around them.
See a Dragon here. Yep, right through there. It is a perfect point for it. You know exactly where the choke is going to be, so you send it in, and now you force out the Transcendence.
Self-destruct is in. Self-destruct finds Gambler. Zumba gets splattered by Gesture. Miro having a bit of a duel, but he's going to get caught as well.
I think some of the roster changes they've done has to really help out Fury because he was often subbed in and out for Wuvial. So now that he knows the confidence that I'm the guy, I'm in, I get to play with the team, I think it's going to really help out his play reach the next level there. And so far, you know, the Fury's in there, he plays a little bit more passive, and he's gotten out of a lot of these situations alive despite being hard countered by a Zarya on the other side of things. Zarya now off the map as Seoul makes some switches here. Wakid goes to the Brigitte, Zumba over to the Diva.
Yeah, so we lose some of that Hanzo damage, unfortunately. It's always fun to watch scatter arrows. Gesture, gonna have to back off. He is getting focused, but no problem at all. He'll be able to get double pocketed here and top right back up again. So Seoul Dynasty now with less than a minute on the clock have to figure out how to cap this second point. That'd be a bit hard pressed, but with Wakid and the shield bashes, there are opportunities.
And that should really hurt Prophet trying to go in. He's almost got his blade up. He's made the switch over to the Genji. He's going to try to get to the back line. Up over the top!
Oh, I love it. Beautiful work here from Prophet. 2 kills. Could be a third or a DMAC at least, but Zuma getting pocketed there. He isn't able to pick up Gambler, but that's just fine. 30 seconds on the clock here for Seoul Dynasty.
That's a really cool angle, and to win that fight, it allows both of their support ultimates to come online for this next engagement. The hardcore parkour over the top. Really nice use of the ultimate to reset the dash and get into the back line. Does not get stunned by Wakid. In fact, takes Wakid out during that blade.
Yeah, brutal pressure. That's what we've come to expect from Prophet, though. He never really does have an off day. London Spitfire now, all they have to do is win this next fight. It's desperation time here for Seoul Dynasty. They have a couple of ultimates to work with. Zumba, you can see, throws a self-destruct in, allowing Miro to get on the payload, but it is still getting contested by Fury. Nuss has popped the wings as well. He will get that chain heals out. Ocean's gonna be the one to find the main tank. Seoul Dynasty, they don't have Miro, they don't have his primal for this push, and the overtime's burning down.
Jester just hops into the back line trying to take out the supports, but he actually gets taken out by Jaehong. Rally is in, trying to give armor up. Another blade out from Prophet should seal this one.
Jaehong, what are you gonna do? Nothing. And in the meantime, while that happened, we have nobody on the point for Seoul Dynasty. They will hold London Spitfire. No second point picked up for Seoul.
Jester's just so active on that Winston, and that's a time where you're playing defense and you think you're going to play around the cart. No, he just goes into the back line. He ended up dying there, but he's got 14 eliminations, 6 final blows, only outclassed by Prophet, who only has 9 final blows, the same amount of eliminations. So Jester started that map really strong, was getting primal rage kills, was all over the place. It's just been a tale of 2 main tanks, and that he's been, I think, the most consistent and best player on this London team since day 1, stage 1.
Yeah, Jester, never any doubt as far as his spot on the starting roster. Miro, it's always going to be the discussion about Miro, but it doesn't help that he's been swapped in, swapped out. You know, that lack of faith shown by his team may be impacting his confidence, maybe impacting his decision-making.
Well, I think Seoul needs to start doing what London just did, of like, this is our roster. We are going to ride or die with this one, because they were just playing musical chairs for so long that we were like, who's going to be in? And then they're moving around. They're one of their best players and team captains, and Jaehong, he's playing all over the place. And that kind of consistency or lack thereof really just hurts a team mentally, like just your prep, your practice. Everything comes apart when you just have no idea who your starting roster is going to be.
Oh, now we get to swap sides. 30 seconds until we see what London are capable of on the offense. Seoul Dynasty on the defense, already setting up with perhaps a bit of the Shetland pony here, as Miro will be getting that barrier up on that high balcony ground, allowing for Fleta to go for the headshots. Exactly what we want to see. London Spitfire, though, curious to see what they're going to settle on when it comes time for the push.
I mean, London, if I recall correctly, has run, oddly enough, a Pharah into this. They run Pharah in a lot of situations that other teams will not, but that might have been when they were just trying to mess around with different rosters, and I think the meta on King's Row has settled pretty much down to this. Offensively, you run double sniper, defensively, and it's a risk Junkrat. Most teams are running a variation of this, at least.
Oh, what's going to be interesting here is, we'll have the Winston, we'll have the Diva working together, but then we have double sniper as well for London, and Prophet getting way out. No way for his supports to back him up there. Fury dies as well to the hands of Wakid.
I don't know what he was expecting through there. A bellhop to carry his bags and to escort him through the hotel? He's going in to try to hit the scatter, but it's against a Diva right there, and he just gets rocked right in the face.
No, we'll say London. They are gonna, I mean, they have plenty of time here, obviously, so we'll see how they decide to adapt. We've got both of the tanks through. Birdring there to join. So there is gonna be a bit of an angle opening up here for Birdring. Obviously, Wakid is chucking grenades and he knows where they can come from, but no target found, unfortunately, there for Birdring. Still, Gesture, Fury, they decide to press onto the point. Doshin's got a bit of an angle as well to work with on the other side of the hotel. Decides to group up with the rest of his team, and Prophet still trying to pump damage in with the arrows.
And they're just trying to crack the shield. That's all Badoshin is doing right now, trying to put some damage in on that shield just to be active at the moment. Still haven't really even seen the snipers go after each other. They're looking for each other, but right now it's going to be Fleta with the advantage because he's going to have 100% shield uptime in front of him.
When are we going to be exactly? There we go. That's the big one. Could be, and instantly Gesture tries to punish the res. Doesn't quite pull it off, though, but that opens it up for Miro to get overwhelmed by Prophet. Point now going to be very difficult here for Seoul Dynasty to hold on without that main tank, without that barrier. And Zuba now, he needs to stay alive, but Prophet just going to throw the dragon in. No hesitation on his part.
Actually able to dodge most of the dragon. The tire will come in, take down Birdring right after he was resurrected. Still a brawl here on the point, and King's Row is one of those maps that if you can trade out on offense, eventually you will have the advantage. So making trades always good. Fleta taking out Nuss, though. It's a huge pick to turn this around.
Exactly. Without that healing throughput, without the res as possible, this is going to get a bit dicey here for London. Already Zumba hanging on by a thread, bit of a greedy peek, but he gets he's got his Mercy backing him up.
Time to get out. That late kill onto the Mercy really hurt them there. And so far, the Seoul defense looking rather stout.
Miro changing it up as well on the fly. I like it. Gonna have that Ryan, gonna continue to have that barrier to work with. He'll work up to that Earth Shatter as well when the push comes through. London Spitfire right now. 3 ults, soon to be 4 with Prophet having the Dragon online.
It also helps you get back to the point much quicker. Orisa's slow despite being a horse, unable to gallop. Need a new ability there, but Ryan can charge back to the point. Gesture remains to just push all the way into the back line. My goodness.
Beautiful, all-out aggression, and he escapes. Finds the kill on Gambler, and then he dodges out. Now he's gonna get to have this pressure on the point with the bubble there now as well. It gives him some room to work with. Self-destruct just kind of floated in, and it's going to find Fury. Wakid takes down Doshin in the meantime, but this is a bit of a back and forth escapade here, as Zumba is gonna be the one charging on. Jaehong not really gonna have that HP to work with, but if he can keep Zumba alive, Seoul Dynasty, they're stopping London from picking up this first point.
Still in here, the Junkrat play has been really slowing Gesture down where he wants to be. Birdwing's trying to come back in. This is a interesting Widow fight in the hallway. Neither wants to peek that one there, and here comes another tire. Doesn't get much. Force out Transcend though.
Forces the trans, but Doshin, man, quick fingers there, the reactions, lightning fast. Gesture still falls to Wakid despite the transcend, but Prophet will find a kill on Wakid, and it's just Seoul Dynasty holding 30 seconds on the clock, and London Spitfire, they need to pick up this last take if they want to keep their hopes alive on this first map in this series.
And they got nothing to use. They have no bullets in the barrel of their gun. They have no ultimates. No one's even close. Maybe Gesture gets in here. Maybe Gesture can get a Primal Rage. He's been the only player who's had a big moment so far for London. But you got to push into 2 support ultimates, Sumler.
Yeah, this is going to be dicey here. Last push coming up. Gesture and Fury going to dive in here to keep it alive. Need to get support from the back line, though, as the trance gets thrown in. No hesitation there from Jaehong. Gambler overlapping it as well. Has the wings out. He could be able to get that res off. Miro with the shatter, and that is going to be it. London Spitfire unable to pick up the first point on Kings Row on home turf. Despite it all, it will be Seoul taking the lead in this series, 1-0.
A little bit stunning there, able to full hold first, the Seoul Dynasty. There was some really nice Junkrat play, finally gotten himself into position to punish Gesture whenever he was trying to leave. Gesture was able to get in, but getting out was the problem because Wakid was always waiting for him on the exit, punished him there several times. Very interesting result for our first map.
So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and when we come back, we will have the second map here between Seoul Dynasty and the London Spitfire. Don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel. Intel Core i7 powers the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's fastest network ever.
Seoul Dynasty will have their cake, and you know the leader too. Absolutely incredible, and the Spitfire are not done there. Boom!
They need to win, and they need to win hard right now. Munchkin finishes him off.
A third kill for Jayhong. Is that the face of a Stone Cold Killer? Yeah, it is. Prophet is just relentless, and Hagenpin, what was that?
Oh, beautiful.
It could be the fight end of the checkmate, the coup de grace, and there it is.
All right, welcome back, everybody. There you have it, the coup de grace, in fact, because we definitely did not expect that result, at least to kick things off. Seoul Dynasty coming up with the upset win on London's home turf, home map. What is this?
It's a little surprising. There was just some surprising plays. I don't know. Prophet trying to go through the hotel, then not leaving when he sees a diva there. He's like, I guess I'll just 1v1 diva. Maybe he's been playing new Hanzo. He's like,
exactly.
I do this all the time. Just not quite in the patch just yet. So a little surprising result on Kings Row. Although they were kind of even on it. Neither of them are very good at that map. As we go to Hanamura, London should have a bit of an advantage. They have a better map record overall. They run an interesting style. They got Brigitte as they roll in, and then they leave Birdring behind to kind of pick off the mess that she creates there. So I don't know. I'm a little bit surprised. I expected London to perform much better than they did on Kings. They seemed a little bit out of sorts.
A little bit shaky. Maybe the earlier start time here on Saturdays.
Maybe.
They're like, wait, it's the weekend. I should be in bed right now, but no.
The composition, I mean, there's some questions about it. It seemed like Gesture was the only one doing anything, but then he was all alone when he was doing some of those things. He opened it up with a nice Mercy kill and then distracted the Widow. His team couldn't capitalize on that. It seemed like Wakid was always alive and there was always damage and always area control from that Junkrat. But that is neither here nor there. Seoul Dynasty 1-0 to start this up as we enter into Hanamura.
And now we get to see what we have in store for us here. London Spitfire again, going for the tried and true with the Orisa. Gesture going to be able to kind of set up the Shetland Pony over here if he wants. Different positioning. We can see a whole variety of different spots to set up for London Spitfire with this current comp. Seoul Dynasty on the other side of things. Hey, we might get the double sniper.
So they're going to boost out right away. Gambler is on the Lucio. Let's try to get them a nice speed boost overall to get in there as quickly as possible. Switch right back to Mercy. So we're seeing double sniper offense on Hanamura. Both dive tanks in here as well. So they're going to try to create chaos, and then the snipers need to clean up the mess.
I like this, though. I like this, the swap. This is the double sniper with the dive tanks. I'm not a huge fan of because I don't feel like there's enough backing up there for the tanks.
He's off of the Hanzo.
Now we get the Tracer from Wakid, and so there is going to be a little bit more to work with here. Miro should be happy about that. Wakid doesn't want to get shot in the face, though. Birdring just letting him know, putting him on notice, on blast.
Well, Mira's all alone in here. He's on the point, and now Wakid is going to come join him. They're trying to put some pressure on the point to open the front door.
Let's see. A bit of an angle, some progress getting made. Need to contest. London Spitfire playing this very carefully, sticking together as a unit right now. They really want Seoul Dynasty to just if they're gonna jump in, maximum damage immediately onto Miro, forces him back. And so for now, London Spitfire, it looks like they're feeling pretty comfortable with this setup. All they have to do is keep hiding behind these Orisa barriers. They're just infinite.
Yeah, you're never really gonna beat an Orisa barrier. It's the moment you crack it, there's another one on cooldown. It's very difficult to really work around it. That's why it only covers one half of it. You gotta find a different angle. You gotta go around the side like that. Zuma's trying to get something going on there. Miro was dancing with fire, but that's a better kill for Seoul than it is for London. They were able to take down Nuss.
100%, and in the chaos, Notion finds the one. Zuma trying to stay alive, but he's not quite gonna be able to keep that back going, and he gets chucked off the side. Gambler. He's over here he's working with Wakid, but those are the only two somehow, despite the fact that they lose Nuss. London Spitfire win that fight hand down.
All right, now Gambler and Wakid are in the back line, and they might regret not resetting right now, because if they die right now, they are in a world of trouble.
What a beautiful shot from Birdring.
Wakid and Nuss are still in the back line. Look how far back they are. This team's on offense. This is the team on offense.
It's like you're a bit early, guys. You're not on defense just yet.
Look, they got to get in here without dying, because otherwise they had a fine chance to reset. Birdring's looking for it. Gambler's all alone.
Spotted him, but the wings are out. Gambler's going to be able to rejoin the rest of his team.
No, sorry, I called him Nuss early. It was Gambler.
Prophet will find Miro, who threw himself in there yet again. No backup there from the rest of his team. And with Gambler having to use the wings, he might be able to get the res off. Yep, great D-Matrix coverage there from Zumba, making sure that his Mercy was protected while the res went off. And so we have Miro back in this fight. Things still possible here for Seoul Dynasty as Fury just taking the fight straight to Miro. Again, Miro just getting caught. And we've lost Gambler here for Seoul Dynasty. Two keys to this push already broken.
Yeah, this push is absolutely over. It's been a couple days. It's a little bit concerning. Miro's died first a couple of these last engagements, and then where Seoul was kind of cut off from the rest of their team on a fantastic journey. And again, Jaehong gets cut off from his team in the back line. They cleaned that one up. That's going to stagger it even more. Seoul, under a minute remaining, now have some ultimates to work with. It's not going to be Valkyrie, though. Fleda's going to switch over to the Genji. They have transitioned into a full dive composition. It's one of the best ways to deal with an Orisa. It's going to put a lot of pressure onto Prophet. And let's take a moment to pause and reflect.
Pause. Interesting. Didn't see any reaction from the players on London Spitfire there. If there is a pause, usually it's going to be a tech issue. They happen very rarely here in the studio. That's the nice thing about working in a studio that we can control, right? Not moving equipment, not doing anything. It's like everything's working smooth.
It's an auto pause when someone disconnects from the server. It just automatically pauses the game. There's no, it's not like the players get to hit just pause there or ask for a pause or anything like that. It has to be a tech issue.
We've all been there.
And you say it's kind of nice, but like we know a lot of the IT guys, they're probably not happy.
Right now, they're not happy. Right now, they're definitely not happy. But I mean, they're some of the best in the biz, so they're going to get it sorted out fairly quickly, guys. Don't worry. But let's go ahead and take a look at some stats here, as Widow is obviously always going to be the standout one. Been seeing nothing but Widow pretty much since the beginning of the season. Land client, it's a nice thing.
Yeah, and when we say land client, all that means is that the ping is like 0. It's low, so the latency, the milliseconds that you have, even if you have like 10 ping at home, like I have like 5 pings, so I live right here, but like 0 ping is a completely different world. This is Birdring versus the San Francisco Shock. He had one of his better Widowmaker games compared to the rest of his stage 4. So he's coming into his own, and like so we talked about this earlier, Birdring and Fleta, they were in talks for MVP consideration, and now they had a rough stage 3 trying to resurrect themselves.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it is possible.
Right, under a minute here. Okay, so 40 seconds left despite that pause, and Seoul is gonna have to find something to work with here. They've transitioned to full dive by Miro. See you later. What a shot.
That's so beautiful. This angle here from Birdring, that's a nightmare. He sees the front door, but he's protected himself. Oh, well, 20 seconds left here for Seoul Dynasty to come up with the goods, and
they can wait. Yeah, they can wait. Wakita's trying to set up on the right-hand side. He's going to wait for Miro to come in. Miro's got primal rage, so they will be able to get to this point for sure. And once they get on the point, that's when you get Zoomyata in there, Jaehong. And if you can keep them alive long enough, Gambler will also have Valkyrie. This tire could change everything.
Oh, just barely. Barely saved there. Jaehong the one to find the kill. Okay, let's see now. We've got the supercharger down. 50% more damage for everybody here for the London Spitfire, which means there's going to be a whole lot of hurt. And Jaehong, he's dead immediately. Prophet follows it up. Zuma, though, with the monster self-destruct, but we've seen us die before, and London still went out. Everything possible here with 5 alive for London Spitfire. All they have to do is stick together as a unit. And Fury, he kills the entire backline for Seoul Dynasty. It's falling apart here for Seoul on the offense. They just don't have the time to come up with the magic. Overtime, burning down, they're running back, but it's not going to be fast enough. London Spitfire with a successful hold here to kick things off on Hanamura.
Very nice shots there towards the end from Birdring to really stall out that first push and making sure that they only had one push. Fury had a nice self-destruct in there as well. And let's take a look at exactly the angle he took here. The Zoomyata comes on the point and desperately needed. Both those DPS were really low. He just drops it right down there, and then they halt him. They halt him into the sight line. Nice play.
You got the Winston with the primal rage, right? Batting people around. Halt into the self-destruct. How sexy is that gesture? You god.
Halt is one of the most overlooked abilities in the game, I think. Environmentally, you see it, and that's kind of the cool plays when you're pulling people off the edge into the pit of maybe like a Nepal Sanctum. But teams that use it well, it's the mini grab on cooldown. They're going to be here, and you get headshots through it. You get Zen volleys through it. You get Roadhog hooks. It just puts them where you want to be. It's CC on cooldown. It's not an ultimate. That's ridiculous.
Not an ultimate, exactly. It is ridiculous. That was actually my initial reaction when I saw that ability the first time. I was like, this is really, 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 really strong. And in the hands of the pros, what's going to be possible? We're seeing it right here. Gesture, just a bit of style right there, just letting us know why he's considered one of the best in the league, hands down. So, London Spitfire now, they get to go on the offense. It's going to be Seoul Dynasty trying to set up here. They've got a lot of work ahead of them.
It's worth noting that absolutely 0 progress on this point. It's not like they got a tick. They got nothing. Zeros across the board. So the London win condition, rather easy, 33%, and they will take Hanamura. We'll head into the half tied up. Get ourselves a good series going here. London on their offense has been trying to run like a Brigitte, trying to get Prophet in on the Brigitte, and then they'll take the entire team and rotate them through the right side. So they go through the door, then they rotate all the way right side, go towards the back where the defenders usually come from, and set up there. Looks like they have a little bit different plan up their sleeve right now. Hard to tell in the offensive phase of the game, though.
Yeah, they can always go for the changes if they need to. Yep, Prophet will be swapping over to the Tracer. So we will get that back up here for the dive tanks. And then you've got Birdring, who's going to be looking for the pot shots, obviously. Working around the edges.
It's very likely the Prophet just wants to get in here and put pressure on the points. Just pull them off of the front door, put some pressure there. Birdring is going to switch over to the Genji. Dive's not dead, folks. Full dive for London Spitfire on their offense.
Let's see. I mean, they're going to be feeling pretty good about that Gesture and Fury now. They've got the Shurikens, they've got the Blade.
Yeah, look at that. He waits for 2 blinks because he doesn't want to get picked off on his way through that doorway. That's why you saw him stall there for a second. He knows that there's generally a Widow on the other side of things. Waits for the double blink to just be absolutely certain he can get in there.
So now he's in. Right around to the other side. Gonna force a reaction here from Seoul Dynasty, who cannot afford to give up a single tick. Keep that in mind. London Spitfire straight to the goal. Gesture, D-Mech on Zumba to kick things off. Birdring doing maximum damage, just beheading him. Wicked hangs on by a thread, but you can't say the same for Jaehong. And now, well, you're kind of caught on the outside here, Seoul Dynasty. You're split up. Miro and Zumba working together on the point, but without the healers, anything is possible without the healers. Somehow, for now, they've held.
They get deflected there. Some nice DPS play, but he was getting so low. Birdring actually got the pack that most people don't even know exists over by those stairs over there. And now, another great adventure into the back lines with the offense.
Birdring, I mean, he's not too far. He can't hear, sadly, the footsteps.
You know,
he does hear the Mercy go by, but he could have caught Jaehong.
I'm glad we're here, because now we actually get to see second point for a little bit. They're not going to see it the rest of this map. Pulse Bomb ready for Prophet. He's looking for it. They're clumped up.
Well, it could be the money moment here. Worried perhaps about the Zuma D-Matrix, as long as that mech is still alive. Somehow Prophet staying alive, avoiding getting knocked off the side here. It's going to be Miro hanging in, trying to at least. He gets overwhelmed, and London Spitfire right now is looking so good for them to pick up this first point, pick up this map, and tie up the series 1-1 versus Seoul Dynasty. So we've had it, Hex. They've gone the distance, at least in terms of these first 2 matches of this series, and we've got a tied situation on our hands. Very even match.
Victory self-destruct there too. An even match in a low-scoring affair. Are we going to get to see a whole lot of second points? We're going to get to see Control next, as that will be the map after the halftime.
So Control, all-out battle. We're going to get to see a bit of that brawl. That's what we want. But guys, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll hear what the desk have to say about the series, whether their theories have been confirmed.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Oh, are you...
Ready to go to lunch? Yeah, dude, let's do it.
Right, but you're riding in the back seat?
Yeah, I mean, why not? It's pretty spacious back here.
Well, sure, but there's plenty of space up front.
Yeah, no, that is true.
So, sit up here?
No, I'm good, bro.
You're good. I'm not good with this entire situation. It's like I'm your chauffeur.
A friend who's going to take his other friend to lunch while they both enjoy the wonderful spaciousness of this vehicle.
Yeah. Sure.
Oh, if you don't get us there quickly, by the way, you're not getting 5 stars.
Sir, yes, sir. Right away, sir. Breath mint?
Don't talk to me.
Designed and focused around you. The Toyota CHR. Toyota, let's go places. defense keeps playing like this, we're gonna have a fast Saturday. Seoul started things off with a full hold on King's Row, but the Spitfire answer right back on Hanamura. Now we're all tied up, one apiece at the half. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing in the Blizzard Arena? Still having fun? The games, a little shorter than we expected, and that's because, as we mentioned at the top, defense is so strong. We got Bren, we've got Crumbs. Guys, what have we seen so far? Bren, initial impressions, because we're already at halftime.
So for one, Miro is playing better. I think we can definitely say that soundly. We put a big focus on Miro playing well in this game, and he is playing better than the rest of his team. He's playing very low resource intensive. Essentially, that means that he's not taking much heals. He doesn't really want many resources in the form of Zumba protecting him with his defense matrix. He's trying to put as little pressure or needed little help as possible, essentially, to enable the rest of his team, which is good because they're trying to now have a game plan in mind. You can see they're finally starting to plan things out, which is what Seoul needed to do.
You can see the support kind of hanging out around Fleta a little bit more, making sure that he's got the support he needs in the DPS role. But Crumbs, what are we seeing on the other side? That's Seoul. What's it looking like for London? Because they dropped King's Row pretty quick.
So I think this is not just applicable to London, but to Seoul as well. And it seems like both these squads are just coming out with a set strategy, like Brendan is mentioning, but they don't make very many adaptations or any switches to the playstyle whatsoever. It's as if they're both playing rock, paper, scissors, and they just think their rocks are just better, just pounding against each other and thinking it's going to work. And it's not working.
Let's take a look back at some of the highlights from our first two games, starting with King's Row. Now, coming into the map, neither team in Stage 4 had a victory on this level. In fact, you look at their season numbers, really bad. But it was Seoul who came out on top, and talk us through, Crumbs, what were we seeing from Seoul on the attack?
So the big difference here, both teams were running the double sniper, but Seoul opened up with the Reinhardt and the Zarya. That makes a big difference because those ultimates are ultimates that allow you to engage very easily. You don't rely so much on your snipers to make the plays happen. You have a timing, whereas what London did, they were running the Diva and the Winston, and while the composition can work, they were playing into the style where Brandon, you were saying, it was mostly just them saying to Birdring and Prophet, get a pick. That's the only way we're going to make this happen. And unfortunately, it didn't get a pick. They were the ones getting picked.
I didn't like the way they were playing the composition. It was too slow for my liking, and that did carry over into Hanamura to a degree as well, with a lot of the attacks from both these sides. But in the case of Seoul Dynasty, they really were struggling to sort of break into this first point quite a lot. And this was, again, repeatedly throwing the same composition into it time and time again. I actually am going to go into detail into this a little bit more after the general highlights here, because it does need to be broken down into minute details, because it was just kind of little mistakes, not recognizing when they needed to sort of end these team fights in a lot of the ways. But they're playing this dive composition, they're playing with Fleta on the sniper role. Miro is trying to jump into these fights and not take healing up. He's just trying to basically apply pressure in his unique little way that he does play Winston. And it's not really paying off at all, because London are just ignoring him. And now Birdring is free to try and take this 1v1 against Fleta. He wins it most of the time as well. Gambler's there, and he's trying to resurrect him as well. And it's too slow for my liking. The playstyle is just way off. Then there's no tempo to it, there's no aggression, and London are just free to just play however they want. So that's my real issue with that Hanamura half.
Well, I think what they need to do is take a page out of what the Los Angeles Gladiators have been doing so well. They open up the first couple of seconds, scouting out the composition, and then deciding, do we need to tackle this with something else? Had they done that, I don't think they would have run Widowmaker into an Orisa Widowmaker on the other side. Seoul swapped at the last 30 seconds. You need to buy yourself more time to make these blades work.
It seemed that Seoul kind of brute forced their way on King's Row. They were also able to full hold their opponent, but there was a little bit of a moment that you looked at for London and you said they're playing things the right way with the ultimates. What were you seeing on our first
So the DPS for London are the stars of the show, sometimes because the tanks and the support steal it every once in a while. But take a look at this. Birdring hits the shot, and look at how quickly the blade is out. Immediately, the Transcendence is removed and blade is there. That kind of synergy, you can chalk it up to luck, chalk it up to whatever you want. It happened. It looked amazing.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not luck. It's pure skill. And this is what we know London can do. And it's so exciting. This is the stuff that beats New York Excel.
Yeah.
All right.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
that kind of
That's a
you
claim.
kidding me?
I heard that. I was
What?
agreeing with you up to that point. I'm like, New York, mate, I don't think you can really...
I didn't say
that is a strong
they're beating. I'm
bro.
saying that kind of play is the stuff that beats New York.
That's how they did it
Okay,
three stages ago in the Stage 1 title match, but not since. Got it. Brent, real quick, let's talk about your clip. You got a good illustration for us from Hanamura. Slow things down for the audience at home. What are we about to see?
This is really me sort of pinpointing Seoul's mistakes in Hanamura in particular. It's some insights powered by Intel again, and it really all starts here. And this is in the middle of one of their attempts, and it's a failed push attempt so far. And we're just going to watch Wiki, the Gambler, go on a little adventure in the backlines. And I am not a fan of this, right? Because they're obviously trying to set up so that they're in the backline and that they can get a pincer maneuver going for Seoul here. But all this does is waste time for them. So they're in the backlines right now. And I mean, that entire time has just essentially wasted around 40 seconds of game time of them hanging around the backlines now. And now they're trying to set up the fight again. And I paused it at this in particular moment because you can see exactly what's happened here. So Birdring is actually hidden behind there. You can't see him. But he gets a shot off onto Gambler, forcing Gambler to use his Valk early. So not only did they just waste 40 seconds off the clock in poor positions, right, when they should have just essentially jumped off the map and got it going straight away, they end up using the Valk early in a situation they didn't particularly want to, and they're still playing passive. Look at how patient they're waiting here. London have all the time in the world to react to this. They're not really messing around a lot. Prophet uses the tie and takes out Miro, which forces Gambler to go for the res. So now they've used up the res in the team fight, and it's just these little mistakes that eventually pile up and cause these issues for Seoul. And this is why I'm saying, this is one particular example that I was pinpointing, that this is where they need to start playing more proactive, more aggressive into them. Because when they're playing like this, you give London way too much time to set up and play into you. And the dive composition that Seoul are playing, that is supposed to counter the comp that London are.
No, you need the Genji. You got to go with the Genji into that.
Maybe, yes, but the Widowmaker can work in those scenarios if you can win the 1v1s out, because there are still opportunities for you to win them. This is where I'm taking issue with this, is that they're playing dive composition, but they're playing it like they're trying to run, I don't know, some sort of death ball comp where they're just slowly maneuvering around and taking positioning, and it just doesn't really work like that. Now, I think a big part of this is because that is the playstyle that suits Miro when he plays Winston, is he likes to play passive, not take the heals, and try and let the rest of his team, get as many resources as possible to succeed. But main tank has changed. The style of which you play main tank has changed. Look at Fisher, for example. He plays super aggressive, hyper aggressive. The rest of his team supports him fully, and that's how they get the wins. Miro, on the other hand, he's playing this sort of 2017 style. It's a bit old hat these days, and London are just abusing it to their fullest.
When I go back and watch that clip, though, I felt like they were just running from Birdring. Birdring scared him off the point, Brent. He wasted 40 seconds. Birdring.
Birdring's pretty good.
It's not the only time this has happened, though. Seoul loves to go with these flanks. Remember, Jaehong's done this before. Yeah. Wakid, he was the guy that chilled behind the team for 2 whole minutes without doing a single thing. This is all the Seoul Dynasty style. It's their flavor.
All right, there's one more clip I want to show you guys, and this is because it goes to the Orisa, the hero I never want to pick in comp. She's boring to play unless you're gesture. Look at this. This was the game-winning moment.
So sick.
He knows Fury has the self-destruct. Can we run it one more time? He knows Fury has the self-destruct, uses his halt, which brings in both supports from around the wall, and they both blow up. It's a huge moment here from a tank, something that some of our newer fans at home may not have played Orisa, may not have tried. That right click, pretty darn dangerous.
Yeah, it's even sicker. The Mercy almost had Valkyrie. Had that come up, that would have been a very different fight.
All right, guys. Well, that is going to do it for our half. I feel like we were very anti-Soul there when Soul played really well.
That's not
do you want to fix that before we leave the half?
I do want to fix that, Bucket, because we are being very harsh on Soul, but in particular, I'm being harsh on Soul because I know they have the potential to play well. This is what it's kind of like the disappointed Bren coming out again, because he knows that Soul...
Dad.
Yeah,
was King's Row not good enough for you? Yeah, they had a bad Hanamura.
They're actually decent at King's Row these days. In Stage 4, they've been looking a lot better on it, but I know Soul can play much better, which is why I'm so harsh on them for these mistakes, because we know that they're capable. These guys are champions. We know that they can play up to par, and that's why I'm maybe a little bit too harsh, but still capable of turning this around. It's still an even game. It's 1-1 right now at the half, so Seoul have many opportunities to bring it back.
Are you guys both siding with London still?
I still think they're the favorites in this matchup, but Seoul still have an opportunity to take it.
London does struggle in control sometimes, so if it goes to Game 5, I think that Seoul has a good chance.
All right, if it goes Game 5, they have a chance. How many people out there want to see London win this series tonight? A few folks here, quite a few folks here in the Blizz Arena. How many people want to see the Dynasty win this match and stay on the playoff run? Got a lot of Seoul fans here in the venue cheering on their team. And remember, you guys can cheer along as well at home. Make sure you hit that little bits button. It's in the bottom right of your Twitch box. Use your cheers. Show some love for both your teams. Enough plugs from us here at the desk, guys. We'll be right back at game number 3. Control to decide who's going to take the lead in this series. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You would have thought Lucio was speed boosting the gameplay in this match with how fast our first half just went by, but we are all tied up 1-1 in this matchup between the London Spitfire and the Seoul Dynasty. And it's been nothing but full hold so far. It's been a very defensive game. Personal highlight for me would definitely be the D.Va self-destructs. I just love how versatile that ult is. You can use it as a crowd control maneuver. You can use it to combo with other ults, or you can just stall a point and then hop out of your mech and then get back in. But anyways, guys, there's not much else to really say about the first half because it was so quick. It's still anybody's game. So let's go ahead and get back into the action with our casters, Simler and Hex.
Thank you, Malik. Man, hey, welcome back, bro. Welcome back. Oh,
Yes.
audio on point. We get the whip
Yes.
crack and everything. I
nailed
love it. Now, Saturday here in the league, last day of the week, but everybody, man, going the distance. It's all good.
I agree with Malik there. It's not much to say. It was odd. It felt odd those first couple of maps. Strange. There weren't like giant hero plays. If someone did this, someone that self-destruct was really the only one that the combination pulled off there. People on a magic mystery tour in the back lines there. I mean, that's the only time we saw second point was when people just get lost and hope to stay alive.
Just waiting for a real estate agent to pop out, be like, here, let me show you point B real quick.
And there was a
Take you
moment
through.
too when the Tracer and Mercy were back there. They looked at the edge. They were like, should we reset? And no, and it probably should have reset.
Probably should have at that point because the gambler ult had to come out to try and get him back in and he died horribly. I mean, now this is it. We've got a 1-1 situation now between both of these teams. Everything's still on the line in the running, and well, always epic to watch London, at least on Lijiang. Big fan of them here on this map in particular. So Seoul have got their work cut out for them, and it's going to be very cool to see what they have for us here because it's looking like we might have some Pharah play.
They mentioned that Control's not really London's best map type, but that's more of an Oasis thing. On this map, they're 6 and 5, Seoul only 5 and 4, so very close between these two teams. Different styles coming out. London wants to run the full dive, meanwhile in the skies will be Seoul.
Let's see. Yeah, exactly. We've got a bit of the flying high duo here, the Top Gun stuff already. The dive right into the house, and Gesture finds Jaehong to kick things off. I think somebody just got knocked off the side too. No,
Yeah,
that was Gambler, so he was going to be able to save himself.
That's not the control that they want with the Pharah here. That you want to get in here and take first control of this point, but now there's not really even any pressure going on. They give it up for absolutely free. Seoul has to pull back. London able to take first control here, and now they've switched. Fleta is going to be on a Brigitte, knowing that they're going against full dive. In theory, this is the counter to it.
Yeah, exactly. You got those. You get the crowd control from the Brigitte, and then you kind of hope that it all kind of locks up together. Be curious to see if Seoul can actually crack this defense here. Fleta taking point with the mini shield. We'll have the Miro with the bubble as well, trying to create some space. Prophet poking around on the edges here, just whittling him down, working his way up towards that pulse bomb. And so far, it's really just, you're kind of just waiting. Who's going to slip up first? Is Wakid going to be able to hit a rocket?
Going towards the backline, pops a Valkyrie immediately. Prophet was going to go for that Mercy in the back too, and there goes Gesture off the edge, courtesy of Fleta. Another kill comes in from Jaehong, 6v4 on the point. This would be Seoul flipping it back.
Man, another knockback on this map. So you got Lucio's, you got Farah's, but now you got Brigittes as well. You got the Pulse that gets completely whiffed, unfortunately, there for London Spitfire. At this point, they're just trying to stall it out to get more ult percent, or not more ult, more percentage on the point before they hand it over to Seoul. And so 57% for London Spitfire here. It's on Seoul now to try and tie it up and hold.
That's a good first take, and now the question is, how do you come in against the Pharah? You're going to eat a lot of damage incoming, and this is the switch you expect immediately. Bird Ring goes over to the Widowmaker. You can get those shots, and at least pressure the Pharah to not take aggressive angles, to not knock people off of the bridge.
Just looking for the angle, exactly. A couple of body shots there. Didn't get that satisfying headshot audio clip. Now we're really going to get the flanking. Yes. Opportunity here. Can he miss it? No, he gets that shot. Bird Ring coming up with the goods in the end. Fleta, a bit of a spicy moment there, and Prophet finds Gambler in the mix, so the support's pretty much dead here. Fleta, the last one alive, only hanging on by a thread, takes Prophet with them. But the important bit here is that London are finding the kills. They've got the presence on the point still. Zumba with the self-destruct, not finding anything. It's Wakid and Zumba dying now. And Miro's gonna be the one who's trying to tap that point just for a little while longer, but he gets run over bodily.
Just beautiful angle they're taking from the Widow on the side, getting in there, misses the first shot, and that's a shot that you have to hit, but able to redeem himself immediately, takes down the Zenyatta, and then it puts the Mercy in a bad position. Prophet's able to clean that one. It is back and forth, but now nearing 70%. London is about one fight away from pulling off the first stage of Lijiang Tower.
They've got the armor, that's the big one here. So a bit of a headshot there, no problem. Zumba armor will be eventually brought back. Birdring looking at the angle. Curious, when is he going to use his infra? There it is, okay. Now you can see through the walls, but Keith's going to have to be a little bit careful about his positioning. Does not want to get picked off.
Just the mini shield trying to crack that down. Only 600 HP on that mini shield. Can go away very quickly. Doing a lot of damage in here, yet to find a final blow, but perhaps Seoul not being as aggressive enough. They do have Valkyrie popped right now, and they also have Barrage ready. Miro will be the first to fall, though.
Woo. Spicy headshot follow-up there on Wakid. He gets topped up here by Gambler. Still in this fight. Trance gets thrown in by Jaehong, and enough is enough. He's trying to turn the tide here. They're up at 99% now, London Spitfire. It's all about Seoul winning this fight. And well, London not going to let him get the chance. They're going to force him out for the point. Perfectly done by London. Doesn't matter about getting the kills. Just push them all off the point into the other house. Nobody there to keep it alive for Seoul.
It's an objective-based game. There was a concussion blast there at the end from the Pharah to make sure that no one could come back in there, and all they did was play the point. Again, another odd stage. Only 9 total deaths from each team on both sides. Not necessarily these brawls and just playing around the point. A single kill will win you the fight. The single kill onto the Zenyatta. Open it up for him, and London takes a quick 1-0 lead on Lijiang Tower.
So now we get to see, are Seoul going to be able to bounce back and keep it competitive here, or will London be locking it down and taking the lead in this series? As far as the lineups are concerned, Seoul's looking like Miro might be, it could be a bit of the meatball here, Hex.
A little Swedish meatball action. RZB, Ryan, Zarya, Brigitte coming in now. And Prophet is going to be really untouched in the sky. That is a huge first kill onto Wakid, and now Prophet can do whatever he wants.
He dies on the other side of the wall as well, so Gambler can't even get the res off. We lose Jaehong, and that pretty much snuffs it here. It's all about keeping Zumba alive at this point, so that whatever energy he's got, he can keep rolling with the next push. Don't want him dying for free. They back off appropriately. Seoul Dynasty just waiting for the reses to come through on the spawn.
See if we see any switches here. Flood is going to immediately go to the Widowmaker. Zumba is now off it as well. Switches are coming in fast and furious for the side of Seoul. Zumba's on the D.Va to try to deal with both the Pharah and the Widowmaker. Birdring continues to get kills, though, on that replay. That's what opened it up for him. And still, I mean, look, London didn't even really have to do much. No ultimates available for him because they just got the single kills that they needed.
He's getting very clever with his angles, Birdring. I'm liking this. Bit of the Maki sniper over here. South Prophet is the one now who's gone for the Pharah. A little bit of a spot. Not gonna let Jaehong get out of here for free. Gotta be careful though. Jaehong can definitely hit those orbs.
But it's a great angle to be running the Pharah on. This is where you see a lot of Pharahs set up once you have control of the point. Off over the side, there's a lot of window room here. You stay out of sight lines of the Widow. You make that Widow play a little more aggressive. Some trades early on though. A better trade for London. They're able to take down Jaehong and resurrect Prophet.
Oh, Doshin with the trance. Interesting. Was looking, there wasn't really too much pressure over there, so maybe getting a bit ahead of himself. He might be regretting giving up that valuable ultimate. Miro gonna splatter him now. And well, this could get a bit dicey here for London as Seoul Dynasty, they're deciding to push through. Jaehong throws his trance into the mix. I'm liking his better. Nuss with the wings out though, getting the chain heals in, keeping those beefy tanks alive.
Prophet, or Gesture rather, was going for a knockoff on the edge with that Primal Rage, but with the pocket healing there and some nice defensive positioning, not able to find any targets to launch over the edge, but it doesn't matter. It's such a great stall out that they're at 80% and still have not flipped it as Seoul. This will finally flip it, a nice barrage. They will bring Jaehong back to life in full fighting force. Gesture will finally give up the ghost. It'll be about 90% when they do finally turn it over.
Yeah, that is a beastly first point hold there for London Spitfire, doing everything they can, again, to play the point, to draw it out. Wakid, point blank with the rockets, doesn't even need the barrage. They could decide to throw it in there in the end, yep. That was pretty much just the nail in the coffin.
Miro
will have to change.
Miro was in a really interesting position holding up top. He has to bail out and get back to his team. Soul should be able to hold this for a bit just because you see the ultimate icon ready to go for Miro. Primal Rage, 1000 HP, one of the great stall outs of the game. But that is an enormous kill on a gambler. Can't resurrect yourself.
Oh no, that's a bit problematic. They were hunting him somehow. Wikid not able to confirm the kills. Now it's about him exactly staying alive, and there we go, point blank onto Prophet. Beautiful rocket there. Gesture, he's still got the bubble, but he's gonna have to back up and regroup with the rest of his team, make sure that his healers can top him up. And so it is London Spitfire, still not losing that progress that they made on flipping the point. It's really gonna pour it on here. Seoul Dynasty now have to come up with a big hold, and it's not gonna happen just like that. London succeeded in flipping it.
He's returned to sender with that sniper rifle round all the way back into his face. And now they flipped it, it's 99%. Seoul has to win this fight. Can they even get back here? Zoom Yada on the point from Jaehong, trying to get back, not in time. And another super quick map as a London Spitfire will take the lead in the series 2-1.
So even in terms of kills, London end that with 23, 21 for Seoul. It's not like Seoul weren't coming up with the kills, but London just better at playing the point, better at keeping the objective in mind, and they will take the lead in this series. We're taking a break, and when we come back, we'll see can they close it, London, and win the series flat out.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's fastest network ever. Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel. Intel Core i7 powers the Overwatch League.
The damage available. And Moira has so much ability to be able to just get away from players like Linkser on the Tracer. Now getting very close, building up the ult, and there it is.
Oh, okay, the coalescence coming out here. Jaehong's just giving the Houston Outlaws a good hosing down. Oh, they're clean indeed. But that push from Seoul was nothing but dirty.
anticipation has been building, and it is finally time.
I'm not going to miss these games. They're incredible.
This is hype. This is what we've been waiting for. All going to come down to this.
All the marbles on the line here. They are the best team we have in Overwatch League.
This is going to be so fun to watch.
Welcome back, everyone. Zoe here. I spoke to the Seoul Dynasty at the end of halftime about Hanamura and their general slow approach we saw there. And their coaching staff agreed that they need to up their tempo. However, what he told me was that their players actually currently lack the confidence to do that. He said that it has everything to do with their main tank, as that one plays a lot more conservative. And in order to fix this, they decided to put Ryu Jae-hong on that main tank role for some time. And that did kind of fix the issue of that front line being more aggressive and more confident, but then they started having issues in the backline with their support players and with their DPS players. So they kind of had to swap it back around again, and they're not quite sure how to really solve this problem they're now having, as working on someone's confidence issues just takes time. Let's see if they can get it done on this next map. Do you think the Seoul Dynasty can bring it back? Well, let's find out on this next map.
All right, thank you very much, Zoe. And yes, we are going to find out on this next map whether London can get the job done or if it's going to be Seoul Dynasty who are taking us to a map 5.
Yeah, it has been strange, and I think a lot of those terms come up, like a lack of tempo, lack of confidence, and like you can kind of see it on screen. And we're trying to figure out what's going on. Is like these Winstons are playing alone, both of them all over the place. Yeah. You've got 5, and like it's super even. But Overwatch is a game that it doesn't matter. Like if you're even on kills, it's when you're getting the kills. The opening kills have favored London so far, especially on Lijiang Tower Night Market. The opening kills probably won them that map, just getting the sniper shots early on. They were unable to take control back, really, for Seoul. So now we've got some interesting substitutions. Kuki is coming in for Miro. Miro, you know, he's been a talking point as well. And then Munchkin is also going to come in.
So they continue to struggle to find their footing here, Seoul Dynasty, in terms of who they need to be running on the roster. London, no swaps to be seen for them.
I would be stunned if London started swapping, especially after they've consolidated the roster size down. And why do you consolidate your roster only to swap people in and out? This is the 6th that they want to run, and they're going to, go with it regardless of what happens here. They are up 2-1. Seoul needs a win here on Gibraltar. But London has a much better record on Gibraltar. 5-1 compared to Seoul's 4-5. So it does seem like this would be a closeout map for them.
They should be on home turf here. But Birdring just hitting shots left and right. He's definitely feeling it right now. It's definitely a sniper's playground on this map. So I'm going to be curious to see how that all pans out here. As London, well, just setting up shop on the payload. I like that they're getting some tags on there. Just letting them know. Just putting Seoul, hey,
yeah,
this is our stuff. You're not prepared.
You are not prepared.
He should have left it. Why did he tag something else? He should have just left that on there. That'd have been perfect after the last map.
Thank you very much, Illidan.
Some low-key banter. I like it. Come on.
Why not? All right, so it's going to be interesting to see what the substitutions are going to play for the Seoul Dynasty. Kuki, of course, will be on main tank. Munchkin is thought of as maybe their best Tracer player, but right now he is on the Widow for this offense. They're going to open up with a double sniper offense. Fleta might stay on this Hanzo. Oftentimes Hanzo is just to check that hallway to make sure you're not going to get ambushed, but it looks like this is what they want to roll with.
So, as far as the Seoul are concerned, it's pretty much going to be business as usual. Bit of a poke here to the high ground, get those tanks up there, not letting the snipers or anybody get too comfortable. And so it is London Spitfire. Prophet's got the swap onto the Genji, so he will have that ability to get onto the high ground to challenge himself with the helmet gesture. And well, Fury's pretty much just set up. Nothing really too crazy happening here apart from Munchkin winning the duel versus Birdring.
That's really nice, and these snipers are just rolling in together. Now a lot of pressure comes in very quickly, but Ocean's able to take down Jae-hong during that fracas. Munchkin's got to back up a little bit. They're going to play server room. You don't really want to peek this when there's double snipers out. They are not punished for that peek. I'm going to just live in the fish bowl up here for a moment as the defense reconvenes elsewhere. They don't want to be stuck in that server room. Sorry. Excuse me, sorry, I guess audio issue there for a second. Munchkin's gonna pop his infrasight here as we continue to go forward. Naz and Badoshan both falling though. That's an enormous opening for the Seoul Dynasty. Prophet's trying to bring it back, is able to take down Zumba during that time. Fleta's nearing a Dragon Strike here. Wanna get that going, a long distance arrow. Robin Hood showing up and taking down Gesture.
show it, and that is going to be the first point picked up for Seoul Dynasty. Perhaps the change is made as far as subs in here. You know, that's shaking things up enough to make it difficult for London, who were hitting their stride, to continue to do so. London now have to worry about getting control of this second point, putting up a fight, but Seoul, I like it, prioritization, just getting on this high ground as quickly as possible. You do not want London Spitfire getting too comfortable up here.
It's really interesting that Munchkin's on the Widow and Fleda's on the Hanzo. He must just have a better Hanzo. I think, for my money, Fleda's the best flex DPS in the entire Overwatch League. His team hasn't performed that well around him, but if you're starting a team with a single flex DPS, Fleda would be at the top of that list. Munchkin's held his own, though, and then some on this Widow, but Prophet puts an end to a lot of this, gets 2 kills on the Blade.
The Gambler as well, that's pretty much going to snuff it. Vergering finds Kuki. And that is going to be London Spitfire managing to stop this push. And this is nightmare territory now for Seoul Dynasty. You do not want to get stalled down, bogged down on the second point of Jim.
Oh, it's absolutely awful for them when that happens, because now you're going to be walking these small doors. Speaking of small doorways, you don't want to be in a hallway with a man with a katana. It's almost as bad as being in a hallway with a man with a hammer.
Oh, yeah. Their bodies hit the floor. The vengeance was good, was good. All right. Now we're gonna get that fight continuing here for Seoul. Kuki. Gonna be looking for that high ground again. Just gonna be dropping down onto the payload once he's cleared it.
And Munchkin has gone over to the Tracer as well, trying to put some pressure into the back line, put some bodies onto the cart. Valkyrie is popped by London. They want to engage on this. They feel like they've got them in a rough position, and they do. It's just both supports. Prophet's going to get dash resets for days. He's got a Mercy in his sights, but a nice comeback from Zumba with the Bunny Blaster. Will take down Prophet, and now Nuss falls as well, going for the Resurrection. They had that fight. Dead to rights. Now still Gambler's got his Caduceus Blaster out, and Gambler gets a kill on the Prophet.
Let's go, buddy. Seoul Dynasty now, despite it all, they've managed to turn it, and they will be picking up that second point. No way here for London Spitfire to get through to contest. 4 minutes and a half for Seoul Dynasty to work with now to get this map unlocked. 3 points is what they're hoping for.
Zumba with the Baby Blaster kill was probably the most influential kill that they had there. London saw a moment to get aggressive. They had most of Seoul down in the corner, down in a hallway, and it looked like Gambler was dead to rights there, that it was no way he was getting out of there alive. In fact, then Zumba comes in with the Bunny Blaster, shuts him down. Some nice kills for London as they restabilize on defense.
See now, pushing. The stabilization coming in for London. Now they have all of the tools in their kit as well. Nuss about to get the Falcon online. That's pretty much going to set him up nicely as far as London Spitfire are concerned. So, high ground occupied. Now they're just waiting for Seoul to make the move so that they can drop right down on top of them like a ton of bricks.
High ground occupied. Birdwing has to play very passively right now because Fleda's got his infra sight up. It's a big head up in the duel. Gesture jumps in and it's immediately domed by Fleda. Prophet might still go for this. They do get some trades. Prophet's got a blade up should he so need it. Now he's got to go back and peel. Primal Rage comes in and puts a wrench into those plans. Still just a big old brawl here on the point as there's trades back and forth, but that is it for Nuss and Fedosian out of the fight. Birdwing falls soonly after, and an avalanche of white for Seoul fills the kill feed, and they barely had to use anything.
Exactly, what is this? All of a sudden, London Spitfire are the ones on the back ropes. Seoul Dynasty, that fight has allowed them to build up all of these ults now to try and hold London at the door. Gesture gets overwhelmed immediately. Munchkin holding his own on the point. Prophet's got the blade, he's looking for the opportunity though. Not quite finding it as Jaehong is still holding on to that trance. Prophet really gonna try and pour it on, but yep, as soon as he hears that sound, Jaehong goes for the trance, keeps him alive and negates Prophet's ultimate.
Prophet's just running around looking for targets there, but a Kuki has come to life as well. Gets himself a couple of kills. They're going to bring Fleda back to life, trying to close this one out. He hits a shot, rewards the resurrection from Nuss, from his own Mercy, takes down Nuss, and Fleda continues. Desperation time here. Can you get bodies on the cart? They will close it out with 2:21 left. A very fast time for Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Yeah, this is one of those maps where once the Widows get into play, once this defense has that line, it's so difficult to push forward with the spawn right there next to the point. But Prophet, you know, you saw it right there, blinks all the way in, has to recall, too far away, wasn't able to keep the contest alive there for his team. And so Seoul Dynasty finding success. If you look at the scoreboard, it hasn't been a whole lot of it. A single point picked up on the first map, that was good. But after that, looking a bit blank. Now we get a solid 3 here for them to work with. And it's a matter of them holding London.
let's give some props to Kuki there. He comes in cold onto this fourth map, trying to keep his team alive. 12 eliminations, 7 final blows, leads the entire lobby in final blows, has done 20% of his team's damage on Winston.
Hey, why not? The man is stepping up. He's always Mr. Reliable. You can do it.
A very nice play there from Kuki. Comes in and, like I said, not even warmed up, and they were just trying to find answers. Seoul back against the wall here. There's a lot on the line for both of these teams to try to re-emerge as top contenders in the Overwatch League. And Seoul has to make a decision. They bring in Munchkin, who held his own on Widow. It allowed Fleta to play very well on the Hanzo, and then Munchkin had a decent Tracer round as well. So the substitutions that they've made coming into this fourth map have paid dividends thus far.
Yeah, they're definitely looking good here, Seoul Dynasty. Perhaps the changes, that was what was necessary. We'll see if they can stick it out now, keep it together on the home stretch to take this to a map 5. That's what it's all about here with the rivalry between these two teams. Honor at stake as well as the W. So London Spitfire, perhaps Prophet will be staying on the Brigitte to kick things off.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting composition. Well, I mean, Birdwing's on the Ana, so that's going to change. I mean, you can see people run a single support in a lot of situations where you put one of your other supports on one of these tanks that doesn't need healing, like a Roadhog. See if they actually want to come out. A very aggressive hold early from Seoul. Now we'll see what the switches actually end up looking like.
Whew, Kuki got chunked. Yeah, not going to get out of that one alive, buddy. Birdwing. Perfect shot to kick things off, and that's really going to hurt for Seoul Dynasty. Not a resable position there. Gambler can't really get over there to bring him back up, and so you see them immediately backing all the way up Seoul Dynasty to the other side. They're going to just have to wait for their Winston to leap his way back into the fray.
It's just a triple support composition here for London as they come out with Prophet on the Brigitte. Now, the only great source of damage is going to be Birdwing. You're relying on him to hit shots, allow him to finish kills, and you're just going to slow push this with all of your tanks and your quasi-tank and Brigitte on the cart, pushing forward, trying to get some stuns out. Diva falls very low, but not finished.
Not finished. All Prophet. I mean, this is where he excels. Just stay on the point. Keep that pressure up with that shield, a very difficult target to hit. I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot of HP to work with, so Prophet, you got to keep that shield up right now, and sure enough, he will succeed.
Great healing. He got the orb, was able to get healed through all of that. It was very close. Munchkin on the other side is running a Brigitte of his own, so we are going to have some shield battles onto the cart. Paladin Wars incoming. Fury's the only one on the cart. He gets stunned, and D-Mac Gesture comes in to try to peel for him.
And Gesture leaping up onto the high ground there, trying to create an opportunity for Birdwing to find a shot. Guess he's going to have to go. Time to take the gloves off. I'll get the job done myself. Finds Gambler. That sets it up nicely here for London Spitfire to continue to progress, although Zumba will find Doshin with that self-destruct. We do get the rally getting thrown in here, so the bonus armor getting in as well here from London Spitfire.
Gets onto Nuss, but Vidoshin was dead during that time. They just now resurrect him. Valkyrie is up, Transcendence is up. Now it's a question of how much do they want to commit to this? Are they going to push in with this now that they've got some support ultimates? They want to find a different angle, want to completely regroup.
Go for the reset. Bit of a tight spot there for Fury, but he can drop down. Prophet just going to wait patiently here for the go sign from the rest of his team. And yeah, sure enough, you hear him. You hear him coming. Gesture up on the high ground, drops down back in, and they're moving together as a group now. Eye on the prize, get on that payload, start making some progress. We'll see. Birdwing needs to find a kill.
Of all the compositions you can run in Overwatch, this one is the most reliant on Widow battles. It's the only DPS on either side of things, and if you can take out the opposing Widow, no one's going to really be able to ruin your day or mess you up. Kuki gets in here with Primal Rage, stun, still getting a ton of healing. Meanwhile, Munchkin is able to take down his counterpart on the Brigitte. London, below 90 seconds now, has not taken first.
This is, we might have one of those surprises. I mean, we saw it on King's Row. The spicy start there from Seoul Dynasty, London Spitfire.
Seoul's in a great position to just piecemeal these out as well. 85% on the rally for Munchkin. It's going to make everyone super strong with all that armor over top. Gambler and Jayhong both sitting on support ultimates. They've got everything they want to work with here.
All the tools. Well, it is just going to be unrelenting pressure there. Munchkin showing no fear, taking the fight to him on the high ground. Fleta, however, he's feeling the heat. Will be able to reposition, get topped up once again. So it will be the rally getting thrown into the mix now for Seoul Dynasty, trying to get that armor on everybody. Gambler's going to have a bit of it to work with.
That rally was not ideal for Munchkin. He rallied and then went after people. Jaehong was left without armor in the back line, got killed. They're going to Valkyrie to try to bring this fight back, but he rallied and walked away from his team. We've seen that happen with Seoul before on different Brigitte players. Munchkin will finally fall as well. Transcendence coming in, desperation time for London. 20 seconds left.
20 seconds to fight to win it all here. London Spitfire, they need to keep this going, but Jaehong, Trance of his own, leads the pack. The rest of his team are going to follow suit, follow right in behind him as Gambler is now looking to get through that choke point. Prophet will hold it with a stun, trying to keep Cookie honest, but right now Seoul Dynasty doing a decent enough job of just sticking together with this fight, keeping the contest alive.
Well, tanks out of it for Seoul is going to mean it's very difficult for them to hold on to this point. Zumba will fall out of his mech now. Munchkin's the only one there. Munchkin is now dead. Gambler's trying to retreat. I believe he got out of there alive. Gesture is hunting, though. Gesture's going super far back with Bird Ring here. They want to pick up some stagger kills and keep rolling through here.
Sadly for them, Cookie's got mobility. Although Fury is going to be willing to go ahead and just take the fight straight up. D.Va will win that. Kogi staggered means that Seoul Dynasty somewhat limited on the options coming back into challenge on the second point.
You don't want to give up Shuttle. You want to take away Shuttle. It's a great high ground, and it's all sorts of problems to try to take it back over as the offense once the defense is encamped within. That's why you see Gesture up top. Anyone who drops down is going to get tased. And now they've got it all the way around the bend, so they've successfully completed the first half, and that's a beautiful kill onto Fleta. Bird Ring. No threats against him, and they're going to camp that body.
Yeah, they're not going to let him get in there. There it is. Oh, misses the chance. Bird Ring, that means the res can go off here. But in the meantime, Prophet going to work on Zoom. Oh! Beautiful shot from Bird Ring. Fleta dead again a second time in as many seconds.
Munchkin throws down the rally and hits Jaehong and Zumba. So Jaehong is really strong right now, but it's not going to matter. They're going to end up killing him anyway at the end of this fracas. And he is now de-armored, de-lifed. And despite how bad that first push looked, London is now making a map of it, though they will finish with a slower time if they finish it all.
If they finish it all. But all right, now with the shots that Bird Ring is hitting, let's go.
That's what we were looking for early on, is the Bird Ring versus Fleta. Yeah. Widow duel for the ages. This is cool. A lot of teams are running this strategy. When you have a Brigitte, just put her with your Widow. Let the Widow have the tiny little shield. You know, a slender frame. Don't need a giant Reinhardt shield. You just use the Brigitte.
And then you can get stunned into oblivion. There we go. Munchkin not having any of that. Key kill to kick things off here for Seoul Dynasty as they press forward. Not going to really allow for the res to come through, and well, it doesn't really matter if the Mercy is dead. You don't got to worry about res no more. Gesture, Prophet, everybody dying here for London Spitfire. And more importantly, valuable time getting burned off the clock for their push.
I feel like Nuss has been punished going for reses several times this map so far. He's going for aggressive reses, and Soul's not having any of it. Now,
there's only one Neptuno.
This is the rally that you want. Look at these health bars. That's a whole lot of yellow. That is armor over top. It is below the Zenyatta shield as well. Everybody got into that. That's why it's one of the most interesting ults in the game. Non-combat ults, everybody gets it. That armor's sticking.
Oh, this is a nice self-destruct, though. Looks like they will be able to sneak their way around corners, however. Nobody picked off there for Seoul Dynasty. That was key. As Jaehong is still holding on to his trance, Discord Orb is going to make life a little bit difficult, more interesting, let's say, here for Gesture. And it's going to be the trance to get in to just top everybody up. The pin onto Fury could be getting demeched as well. That's a nice shatter. Cookie just throwing it out there. No hesitation, but no follow-up.
Threw it out there while he was alone in the corner, maybe he might be switching off of this Reinhardt. That's one of the only explanations for why that happened. We thought his team was with him. It doesn't matter, though. They're still holding on to this defense. That's a nice kill, though, from Badoshin. Soul's got to be careful. They've gone a little too far out. They will get Kuki back into the mix, though. But they burned a lot during that. There's not a whole lot for them to work with. And here's a rally for London. Everyone's in on that one as well.
Yeah, everybody getting the armor, gathered up, rather. So Prophet will find Cookie. That's going to slow things down here for Seoul Dynasty. Munchkin. I mean, they're right now just trying to play it very patiently. Fleta looking for pot shots. Unfortunately, with the tanks in the way, he's not going to find him. And so Zumba has to jet out there to contest on the point. Munchkin is here to back him up, trying to help him out. Prophet, however, point blank, armored up, just doing the damage. Taking the fight to him, and they are just sandwiching him right now. Gesture and Prophet working together with the help of Fury now, who can just leap into the fray as well. Straight up body blocking him at the doorway. Jaehong forced to use trance to get out. Gambler going for the bolt res yet again. The DPS just too good. Didn't happen, and and we will have a 3-3 situation on our hands here between these two teams.
It's just a tale of ultimate execution there. Seoul Dynasty thought they had an opening. You saw the giant charge into the Shatter, which didn't get a whole lot. Now London banked up their stuff. We'll see what Prophet had going on with his Brigita.
The Brigita, the Vision, the Brigade. So let's just keep going.
Brenda, Brittany, Brianna. Oh, take your rally elsewhere. I'll have none of it.
Here, you rallied my mace to your face. That was brutal. All right, Prophet. I mean, hey, it's just fun to see the stats as far as how close it is in terms of kills between both of these teams. 37 kills for Seoul Dynasty, 36 kills for London Spitfire. It's been toe to toe the entire way along, as if they were slow dancing.
It's been like that all day with this set. This set has been so strange. These teams fighting for everything. It's felt more brawly than it has more like high-level Overwatch of like, look at this set play, now I'm in here, and it's just like, guys, just fight. We're just fighting, we're going through it. Use your ults, and it just seems like they're not necessarily set up. London is on the right side of it towards the end as they banked more ultimates than Seoul was able to finally push that through. But all that said, the time banks are completely lopsided to Seoul. 3:21 to the only minute left for finishing in overtime for London.
It's going to take some heroics here from London Spitfire to get another 3 points. They've got a minute, let's see, already wearing down. Straight out onto the payload they go. Prophet going to be taking point, just kind of scoping out the angle behind his shield. Well hidden, well protected. So now, who is going to flinch first? Seoul Dynasty, they are occupying the high ground, a bit more of an aggressive hold this time, although it was hard to get more aggressive than the hold that they had the first go around where Kuki got obliterated. Couldn't do the same thing here though. Headshot immediately from Birdring forces Kuki back.
Yeah, they're trying to follow up. They had both tanks up there, but there's nice healing in that Kuki is able to get out of there alive. Uncontested through the car wash here. Does seem like Seoul now wants to take the fight to him. They want to just win one fight and then have the cart stop right here. So maybe around the bend is where they will engage. Jester just getting all the free push, taking the angle here, but it's only going to be one fight needed for Seoul to stop the cart.
Exactly. Who is going to find that first kill to unlock it all? Fleta dropped low, but he gets healed up again. Munchkin doing a good job of topping up his teammates as well. They're making some progress here, London Spitfire. Seoul Dynasty giving ground. Zumba out, but he's getting pocketed. Kuki's gonna throw himself into the back line.
Birdring's done so much more. He already has Infrasight. Misses that shot, though. Heads and the duel. Fleta's trying to get something done. Fleta's not giving him any sort of peek at some just pixel-perfect shots, looking for it. Gesture's the first to fall while Fleta was being pressured.
This is all over the place, and Kuki will flatten Birdring. So it is going to start going Seoul's way. It looks like with the rallies, the transcendences, it's galore. Just all over the place, but Seoul Dynasty are the ones who are keeping themselves alive, and they will eventually get it done. London Spitfire will not pick up the first point with a minute on the clock. Round 3 complete. So now it's on Seoul Dynasty, who have more than 3 minutes in the bank to push that payload not too far along.
This puts London in a tough spot. They have to fight right there. They might try to do a server room defense because you can stop the cart right at the edge. You can drop an Orisa barrier and just kind of play that corner, and the cart will not get progress through it. We'll see if that is the tactic they want to go for, but 3:21 to get a little further than that. Seoul's in a great position to send us to a map number 5.
All out. But that is, I mean, given London's performance earlier on Control, that could be just a little scary for Seoul. But hey, you got to put your head down and get the job done. If you're Seoul right now, you've got it within your grasp.
Well, it's not going to be Oasis, which helps them. You know, if we do go to a map number 5, it will be on Nepal.
Maybe some Reaper play. Always a fan of Reaper play. Don't get enough of it.
Probably plays a little bit of Reaper.
Get some Doomfist in there too. Yeah. I mean, we can always wish.
And map 5 would be completely unpredictable as well. Seoul Dynasty 6-6 on the season. London 6-5.
Yeah, it's
about as close as it gets.
It's still so close here between these teams. 43 kills for Seoul to 37 for London. Nobody really outright dominating, but the time will tell a different tale. Seoul Dynasty right now, 3 minutes and 21 seconds to get the job done and take us to a map 5, tying up this series. Let's see, London Spitfire, as far as the setup is concerned, once again, the weight put on Birdring's shoulders to do the damage and get the kills. Seoul Dynasty, quick changes, but it's looking like double sniper at least. Fleta still on the Hanzo.
It worked out so well for them early on. Munchkin was able to hit shots and hold his own against Birdring, while Fleta was able to just hit long-distance arrows and put in a ton of damage to the tanks. And I also really like running a Hanzo here because if you just throw the dragon across the cart, you're going to get all the push that you need, and it could close out the map.
Exactly, as long as you maintain the pressure. A little bit of a crossfire setup here for London Spitfire. Munchkin playing the Widow for London, or for Seoul Dynasty. There we go, Gesture up onto the high ground again. Gonna offer a little bit of a target there, nice headshot. The big play attempt here from Birdring, though, launching himself in. Grapple hook getting used. Munchkin not quite connecting with the head.
Oh, they just walked it all the way to the point. There's been no contest here, but now a couple kills coming from London. It's exactly what they need. They gave up all that space, but now they want to fight. That's where they want to fight all the time. As right around the corner, Zumba's going to get demac'd and escorted home as well as Birdring puts on a performance on that Widow.
There we go. Munchkin, he had his chance there to lay Birdring out. That might have unlocked it for Seoul Dynasty. Instead, it's Birdring just laying waste.
Such a tense fight. Fletta's going to switch to the Brigitte. 2 minutes left, should be enough time to get the rally, and it seems like they want to go play the point a little more. Zumba's going to also have self-destruct. You can camp that on top of the cart, and windows are useful in Overwatch, seeing where everyone's coming from.
Exactly, a bit of that free information gain. Once again, right onto the point, Zumba forcing London Spitfire out into the open. You have to contest London. You can't give them any room. There's a meter and a half here left for Seoul Dynasty to win this map. And so, self-destruct thrown in by Fury, trying to clear it out. Gesture, I mean, they're finding all the kills right now, London.
2 dead. And now it's just about 90 seconds left, and the most concerning thing is that Flutta died very early, did not get enough ultimate charge. What you would like to do is get your Brigitte up to that ult rally, push in towards the end, and now Flutta trying to find a hero to move to. He's gonna make a swap with Munchkin. Flutta goes to the Widow, Munchkin onto the Brigitte now. So they're not changing their composition, they're changing the heroes that are playing it. If you're Soul, you live and die by Flutta anyway. He's making the call, let me Widow.
Exactly, let me carry.
This blade though.
This blade can end it all right now. Jaehong, what's he gonna do? How's he gonna open up here? They have moved together as a group, but Prophet is looking for it. Trying to keep that pressure up, and there it is, the fadeaway shot onto Fletta. Nicely done, but you lose Nuss in the process. London Spitfire, you are trading out your mercies. Prophet, not even a chance to get the blade off. He gets rammed into the wall by Munchkin. So long as Fury keeps a presence on that payload, life is not gonna be looking up here for Seoul Dynasty. They've got 30 seconds on the clock here to win a fight. And Fury doing the best that he can to hang in there.
Prophet got absolutely deleted there as Munchkin and Fletta will combine to take out Flurry. The blade is still ready. Blade is out for Prophet, trying to win it. Stunned and killed.
Immediately, Gesture finally making his way back into the fight. Gambler and Jaehong keeping their eye on the prize. Gesture hanging on by a thread, trying to keep it alive here for his team. Nuss and Birdring, the last two alive, but it's not meant to be. Seoul Dynasty will tie it up and take us to overtime on a map 5.
Let's go to Nepal. I love that Seoul makes that switch towards the end of like, we're keeping the same comp, but I'm the guy. I'm the Widow. I run Widow on this team. Fletta switches to it, and they get really nice play out of Munchkin there. We are going to a map number 5. Stay with us. We're going to Nepal after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Sour Patch Kids. Sour, sweet, gone.
buddy. All right, so we've got a map 5 coming up right now between the London Spitfire and the Seoul Dynasty. Seoul, they managed to keep it together on Jib, and that's it. We are going the distance.
Seoul versus London, part 2. Last time we went to a game number 5 as well, and London came out on top. Seoul's never beaten the London Spitfire, so perhaps looking to exercise some demons here.
Ah, that's the additional layer, the flavor there. London Spitfire, they've got that in the back of their heads. Like, is this the time? Much like every team against Shanghai Dragons in this league, is this the time?
Is this the time?
Could happen, could happen. We may have history here for Seoul Dynasty today.
And near identical records on Nepal, so if you're looking for historical data on which team is better on this map, is like 6 and 5 and 5. It doesn't matter. This one is just going to be a brawl as it has been all day. I think we have to still pay attention to the timing of the kills, because kills have been super even back and forth.
Yes.
The Brigitza play that came out from Munchkin to shut down the Blade at the end was so clutch for them too.
Might as well point it out, it's 51 to 50 kills.
Yeah,
on
Gibraltar.
That's pretty good. That's about as close as you can
It's
get.
been like that all day through every single map. It's been such a close series, and it all comes down to I have this ult at the end and you don't have this ult. A lot of it's been tempo based on switches, based on just simple headshots, but all for naught here. We are in a best of 3 on Nepal to decide the series, and both of these teams need this. They need it not only for the standings for the win, but just for your confidence going forward. They've both been floundering, both been confusing teams to watch, and this is what it's all about right here.
Been confusing maps to watch as well, a bit touch and go, but on this map, we may be able to get my wish here. Reaper, yes please, thank you Munchkin. If he just sticks with it. It's looking like they will. It's looking like you will. So cool. We will have a bit of the Reaper play.
Villages is a great map for it, and you're going to see a lot of ground and pound. All tanks, and then you've got a Moira and a Lucio to get you in position quickly, and then it's just pretty much a come at me, bro. I've got a Roadhog, I got a Reaper. There's so much damage on the ground.
CC from the hooks, let's see. But this is an appropriate response. Textbook stuff. You get what? You get your team on the one side, you're forcing those barriers to face your team, and then Prophet just drops in right behind and starts eviscerating you. Clever girl.
Flood is going to punish Prophet just a little bit, but they should be able to res that up. They do just that. And now you will very likely see wholesale changes from Seoul. It's a great strategy when it works, and you get control of the point, and then you're just this giant wall of bodies. But when it doesn't work, then you have to switch up everything, and you put yourselves way behind as far as the economic advantage and ultimates go. Prophet nearing a barrage already, and all the way back to basics and back to spawn for Seoul Dynasty.
Bad, brutal. This is also a case of, can you keep it together on a map 5? If you're Seoul right now, you gotta be feeling great like we've done it, but now it's getting real. You have to come up with the goods at the end. And so London Spitfire, they know that they're the favorite team coming into this match, and this is where that confidence, that edge can come into play. We've seen it happen time and time again.
Prophet just staying out of sight lines, firing in when he can. He's going to be at 90%. Birdring is going to give him all the information in the world. Birdring on a super aggressive flank. Takes a shot, but they know he's there now. He's just gonna back out of this one. Go for a grapple. Hits him in the knee.
Hits him in the knee. That's not gonna stop him. That's not gonna stop Fleta. Still, patience now. 55% and counting here for London Spitfire. We will get a bit of presence here on the point for Seoul Dynasty. The tanks once again working in. Unfortunately, no healers there to back them up.
Yeah, well, the tank's going all alone, and then Gesture's like, thanks, thank you very much. I will just go back and deal with the healers that you've abandoned. Back on the point, and takes them both down very quickly. 72%. Seoul needs to win the next fight, or they are going to be down a stage on Nepal.
So let's see. Yeah, there's no backing up now for Seoul Dynasty. Are they going to be able to do it or not here? Can they stick together and get that timing down? They are moving together as a bit more of a group now. Over on the right flank, Prophet is kind of, you know, Johnny on the spot right now. He's got his ultimate. He knows that Munchkin is around here somewhere, and Munchkin nearly one-clips him. That was close.
A couple of switches already, too. Seoul's not going to have an ultimate this game unless Gambler gets there. And looking for the barrage, they will just delete Kuki off of the map. No presence on the point now for them. Maybe they're just waiting for Gambler to get this Valkyrie up. He has it, pops it immediately.
Munchkin, man, he just saved him. That was a very close touch. Now they've got Zumba in there. Immediately, Munchkin is going to get the follow-up. They were not able to get Cookie back into the fight. He's got to run his way back in from spawn. Zumba with the delaying self-destruct. He gets caught by Doshin. Perfectly done. The trance is there from Doshin as well to keep his teammates alive. They will live through this, and the advantage very firmly on the London Spitfire side now as Prophet removes Gambler. That's pretty much the game ender. Doshin, another headshot. Launching Munchkin into the stratosphere.
Bidoshin taking on that Diva was very, very well done. And now, for the first time in this series, we have a one-sided stage. 12 kills to 2 overall. A lot of those were Bidoshin's. He has 5 elims, 2 final blows. Prophet went untouched the entire time. And gotta give some credit to Fury. Gets himself 9 eliminations, 5 final blows on the Diva. Divas will often top like eliminations because they're in on everything and you're just launching pellets. You're running through people. But to get the finishing kill on people is very nice for Fury. And Seoul just looked a little out of sorts there. They switched their comp several times, and they never really had a DPS ult come online. They didn't get ults until the final fight because they were getting dominated so early on. They're going to try a different composition here yet again. Munchkin on McCree. Fleta goes over to Brigitte, and they still will run dive tanks. On the other side of things, Brigitte and a Widow.
Seoul are in their heads right now. They're the ones that are losing this. It's not like London are doing anything remarkable apart from just getting the job done. Right now, Seoul just needs to believe that they are capable of winning this series, of beating their dark horse. London Spitfire right now. A little bit of the fight. This is more standard fare. Taking the fight by the BBE.
Big bronze elephant for those not in the know of our strange nomenclature. Gambler going down first is the best possible scenario for London Spitfire.
Yeah, that's going to be it. Again, Gambler, man. Tough break for him. No healing throughput here. Means that the tanks are getting stretched out. Birdring removes Cookie as Cookie was trying to hunt him down, so fair enough. That was a battle to the death. Birdring won that one. And while Seoul Dynasty trying to contest on this point, they did manage to get first control, but London, they do have a tendency of doing this where it's just like, okay, you get control, but then we're going to win the fight. And from there on out, it's our show.
All the kills coming in from Birdring right now. They're going to transcend just to get as much percentage, and now they've got people back onto the point. A nice rally's going to get people nice and healthy here, and despite it being completely one-sided as far as kills, Seoul is getting all of the control in the world. My big question with this Seoul Dynasty composition is who's going to pressure Birdring? Who's ever going to go in and be able to pressure Birdring at all? You don't have a counter Widow. The tanks, if they dive in, are going to get met with a Brigitte who's hanging out. Birdring over top. Says Munchkin, why don't you just stay in spawn and think about what you've done?
That was a headshot. That is Seoul Dynasty, yes. And there you go.
You have to switch. You have to.
You go for the switch, even with the Deadeye. It's not worth holding on to it. And actually, they're really going for the switch. Instead of sticking on the Widow, yeah, they're going for the Tracer on Munchkin. This is just be like, hey, play your strongest hero.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. You go to comfort picks in these scenarios when it just, this is my best hero. This is where I feel most comfortable on. I feel I can do the most work on it. And it is going to be enough to perhaps pressure Birdring. But he's been playing so close with the rest of his team. It's not like he's on an island, can be pressured away. Yeah. There's a big wall in front of them. They're set up so perfectly. There's tanks, healers, and then Birdring's behind everybody.
Well, Gambler has gone for the Valve. We'll have the Primal getting thrown in here as well. Birdring with the grappling on cooldown. He is able to save himself. Didn't go for the drop. Prophet kills his counterpart. Fleta's done. And so 54% in counting here for London Spitfire, who continue to hold. Yes, sure enough, Munchkin trying to find that kill on Birdring, but Birdring, he's got his healers right next to him. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, Kuki was waiting in the back because he just leapt in, thought he got Birdring off the edge, and then he had to wait back there, waited for Munchkin to try to come in so they could combine and try to take down Birdring. Not gonna happen though. There's still some armor from the rally on the Spitfire supports as well, and now Birdring has got his infrasight. It's gonna be very hard to come in on this. Flat out goes to Farah against this. Huh.
I mean, interesting.
No, that's it. That's my analysis. Huh.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, there's a way to deal with Widows. Farah, not a common one, but we'll see how it pans out. Fleta right now, look at this! Jester's just jumping all the way up. He nearly punches Fleta to death. The air battle right now is getting silly, and while speaking of which, Gambler, Jester just gets his kill. He's always so consistent. Jaehong decides to go for the trance, trying to keep him alive. Fleta does find that kill on Birdring eventually, but it might be a little too late without the Mercy. There's no heals here to keep him alive in the end. 4 players here on the point and make that 3.
A nice finish though, a nice finish on the Prophet. Soul has to win this point, and Munchkin is doing his damnedest to bring it back. Jester and Prophet both fall. Birdring is brought back to life, but all for naught as Soul will finally capture the point back at 99% for London.
Brutal.
Uh-oh though, London's got Rally and they're all in spawn together. This is going to be a very strong team in a second.
They have the Empress side as well to set it up. Not the high impact. I mean, maybe if Fury were to deliver a massive self-destruct, that could be good. That could be good. Just group up, guys. Just group up together.
But Ocean already has armor, and they can rally out of this. They can rally and do it like in combat aggressively onto the point if they need it. But no one really needs the armor right now.
Deciding to hold on to it for a little while. sticking together. Pulse gonna get whiffed there by
Oh,
Munchkin.
no rally.
Munchkin kills the Prophet. No longer a rally possible. Nuss and Doshin, however, getting closer to their ult, but now this is pretty much going to be it. London are going to pack it in. They know they've got plenty of time for another fight. Just avoid getting staggered too heavily here.
And they've done such a great job on Bird Ring, actually with Fleta in the sky, even though it's a bit confounding. What they've done is they send Munchkin after him, and then he's got to pay attention to Munchkin on the ground, and he gets dunked over top. They've combined their efforts to really take down Bird Ring every chance they get. They forced him off of the Widow, of all things, because now he's the one who has to deal with the bar and the skies. I think it might be better to just run a McCree here. To London's credit, they have banked ultimates. This is the last fight of this stage.
Exactly. No, well, we have had that change. Bird Ring done. Oh, never mind. Yes, he is done. In fact, Munchkin runs into him, gets him with the pulse. Seoul Dynasty taking the fight with the aggressive hold. Are London going to be able to get in here to contest? And yes, it is going to be Gesture throwing himself in there. No surprise there. Fury and Nuss going to be able to follow up and back him up as well. With Bird Ring back in the fight, there's still a chance here for London to stop Seoul Dynasty. Both teams at 99% on this point, but Seoul are the ones in control. They're the ones trying to hold. And Bird Ring finding Gambler. Jaehong dead is not going to help.
Well, Nuss falls on the other side of things, but they still have Badoshin. And Badoshin still has all this armor, too. Are you ever going to kill him? Adena's going to try to zone this out. Zumba, dead, out of the fight. London flips it back over. Overtime, burning down. And the London Spitfire will take the set. Seoul still cannot overcome these boys from London.
Now the Dark Horse just keeps trampling them over and over again. Map 5, Seoul. That's a tough one. You come up with the goods to get to map 5 and then fade both control maps, not picking up a single point for Seoul versus London, and just not able to make their way through the chaos of those maps. So London Spitfire victorious by the skin of their teeth.
Badoshin only died once that entire map. He had armor seemingly the entire time. And I really like that composition from them. Prophet's just on the point. They're just chunking away. Now they keep the armor up. Bird Ring showed up big on the Widow, and then even on the McCree towards the end. It was a little kind of sketchy for a second. He missed like 2 shots on that Mercy that he had to hit, but he gets the kill in the end. Back to the drawing board for Seoul. But actually, I do want to give a lot of credit to Kuki and Munchkin. I think they played very well when they were subbed in very, very late. But that's just my opinion. We'll see what the desk has to say after this break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Sour Patch Kids. Sour, sweet, gone.
This is Zoe, and I'm joined by Nuss from the London Spitfire. Please give it up for him and his team. A clutch victory over the Seoul Dynasty. Now, you guys faced off against each other 4 times this season, and you guys won 4 out of 4. What do you think always gives your team the edge?
팀마다 상성이 존재한다고 생각하는데 저희 팀 멤버들 상성이 서울 선수들한테 잘 맞아가지고 이 결과가 나온 것 같기도 하고 한편으로 코치님들이 서울전마다 오히려 더 준비를 많이 해서 이 결과가 나온 것 같아요.
So going back to what Jesse said before, there is definitely a sort of rock scissors paper thing going on between the play styles of each team, and I think we have the upper hand in that regard. So that's probably why we were able to win 4 times in a row. Also, I think our coaching staff prepares especially hard against the Seoul games.
Well, it's definitely paying off for you guys. Now, with the recent roster changes, your support role is actually the only one which still has a backup player. What does the current subbing strat look like between you and Closer?
서브 힐러 아니 이제 힐러가 2명인 거에 대해서는 저랑 클로저 형이랑 오더적인 걸로 얘기도 많이 하는데 스타일도 좀 많이 달라가지고 그런 거 같기도 해요. 스타일적인 부분.
It is true that me and Closer are the only ones right now that have backup players for each other. I think the main reason for that is because Closer and I have very different play styles, and we are looking to utilize that the best we can.
All right, well, can't wait to see both of you on this stage again next week. Thank you so much for joining us, and once more, congratulations to you and your team. Yeah, please give it up again for him and the London Spitfire. We're now over at the desk to break down the action.
Thank you, Zoe, and a big win for the London Spitfire once again over the Seoul Dynasty. As Zoe mentioned, that is now 4 straight victories, but this is the second time it's gone to a Game 5, guys. We got Bren, we've got Crumbs here. Fellas, talk me through this second half, because coming into halftime, you were thinking very confidently that London should be able to lock it up in 4.
Yeah, when we went to the control map, it looked especially good for London. The games are a little bit different, though. We normally would expect control maps to be all about a bloodbath, but we finished rounds with 9 deaths on either side, which is just very strange. It's more they're playing for control on the point specifically, and it's about the mind against these guys. Nobody wants to make a mistake, so this is what you see happens when these two teams play this way.
Let's go ahead and hop right into it as we take a look back at Lijiang Tower. That was our 3rd map. It was tied up 1-1. Both teams great defense in the first half. Here on control, it's all about how you break in, and we saw early on it was London Spitfire pop it off. Guys, who was leading the charge for London in this Game 3?
So I would make an argument for Birdring, I think. To be honest, off the back of his Widowmaker plays, he really set the pace of it quite nicely. In fact, I was a big fan of Seoul's composition coming out of the gates, to be honest, on Lijiang Tower. They were incorporating Fletter on the Brigitte quite nicely. They had a lot of they were trying to play it around the point especially well with it. But unfortunately, Birdring on the Widowmaker was just getting far too many picks out of sight. And then he switches over to the Genji later on.
I think that has to do with the scouting that Nuss is mentioning, though, because I don't think Seoul put just as much diligence to it. You know that Birdring is likely to bring out Widowmaker just about as many maps as possible based on what we saw of San Francisco, and they didn't expect it. A lot of times Seoul was having to make mid-game adaptations to try to deal with Birdring, and it just didn't work out. And then you're left with just a sniper that has a heavy advantage in these maps.
In this map in particular, they subbed in Kuki, so I like this change a lot, actually, by Seoul. This is the one map that they ended up winning as well, Gibraltar coming in, and this was a change of playstyle that I wanted at the half. When I was going on about Seoul maybe starting to play a little bit more aggressive, Kuki definitely brought that to them, and it was honestly night and day, honestly, from watching it. The way Kuki plays, he forced the entirety of Seoul to play a lot more aggressive with him, and that was really key to them getting a lot of these victories and really steamrolling against London in the final moments, making sure they had such a huge amount of time back.
Fleta doing a great job staying alive as well. Birdring simply could not stop the opposing sniper. In the final moments, though, I thought we were going to see, of course, London be able to come back and seal the deal. They got stopped short. What was Seoul doing on the defensive end to stop London?
So the Brigitte makes a huge difference in a lot of these times, especially being able to take down the Genji. I think that was one of the biggest ones when I believe it was Munchkin swapping over to that hero. It's so important for you to hold your cooldowns, especially in these Brigitte versus Brigitte wars. The first one that uses abilities is typically putting yourself in a position of danger, so I think they played that better than London.
Now, Bren, before we go on to the Game 5, I want to look back at a specific play you clipped out here. This is from a guy that we don't always see in a tank role. What was he doing?
Yeah, Badosin, man, this is such a cool switch. You normally see players like this, they switch to maybe the Hanzo at the start of rounds to get a bit of information. This time he went onto the Roadhog, and that. It's quite rare that you see it, but he instantly gets the hook that he needs, sets up the kill onto Kuki. That is fantastic. It set them up quite nicely.
You know what's pretty funny, though? He's mentioning tank on Bidos, and I'm thinking, oh, yeah, the Zenyatta with 450 life. That's the tank. No, he was playing a different hero.
Yeah, he's on the Roadhog there. All right, just showing you a little bit of an opening play you guys can bring to your own comp games. Remember, you can always go back in your base and swap
exactly
to your
what he
normal
did. He went
hero.
straight back to Zen, and it was all normal, and they got an opening pick. So
All right.
Next level plays.
Next level play, they still get the loss, and we go to a game 5. Let's take a look at what happened as we go into Nepal. We saw this map all throughout Stage 3. These teams very familiar with it. Today, Spitfire seemed to just have the edge in both of the rounds.
Yeah, they really had a grasp on this. London have been through quite a number of game 5s now. I believe this makes it number 15 on the in terms of the number of game 5s they've been to. So they're no stranger to these stressful.
Yeah, I mean, I got a problem with this one, though, because you know Birdring is going to come out with the Widowmaker, and you decide to go with Brigitte and McCree. This is going to be a very difficult task for you to take this one down, and I think that for this last set, London just had the upper advantage from the very get-go. They knew what compositions were going to be more impactful at the start and carried it through to a win.
Bren, how does Seoul start riding the ship? They lost both controls in the second half to lose this series. So how do they win these controls moving forward and start clutching up in game 5s?
They seem uncomfortable, to be honest, in the way that they like to play control, because normally they play quite passive when they're running Miro with Kuki. He likes to play more aggressive, and I feel like the whole team needs to be getting on board with that sort of play style to really find some more success. So again, still early days. Seoul showing that they can bring it to the game 5s. They can actually put in the work where necessary, so they just need to tighten up a lot of these mistakes that they're making. You know, I've been highlighting them all game, despite the fact that I do want Seoul to succeed. So, you know, I just want to see them tighten up these minor mistakes, and suddenly they start to play a lot better.
They're not as bad as what they did yesterday. They're much better than that, we know.
All right, well, we do have one more thing to do. Before we get to it, though, it's our player of the match, of course. Before we get to it, I want to give an honorable mention, because there's 3 of us here on the desk. These 2 are adamantly arguing on who should be the player of the match. Crumbs, I sided with Bren.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'll give you a second. Why should Fury be our player of the match?
I really like Fury as a player of the match because as a diva, right now, you're very good at disrupting the main tank, which is what the weakness of Seoul is right now. So Fury's job was just making living hell for Kuki and Miro, and to me, that makes a very worthwhile candidate for MVP.
He had some big bombs as well, clutching up for the squad when they needed him most. But today, our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. Decided by Captain Planet, and Bren also got it in here. Bren, go ahead, take it away. It's Birdring today.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Crumbs, can Fury hit heads like that? Not quite, can he, mate? You know,
we don't know.
It's these high impact plays that do make the game and set the tempo for London to succeed. And Birdring, again, performing well. He did it the other day. He's done it again today, and he's really set up his team for the victory.
Yeah, he really did, but I will give some credit to the team. I think they played around Birdring and are continuously improving to play around him. He's getting pocketed like no other, and they make a good job of enabling him to hit those shots.
Pocket the Widows. That's the game plan here in Stage 4. The Widow paying dividends for the London Spitfire as Birdring takes today's honors. Did you guys enjoy the first match of the day? It's Saturday. You're not working. We already went to a game 5. Coming up next, we got a bit of a difference on the leaderboard, but 2 fan favorites nonetheless. It's the Shanghai Dragons taking on the #1 team in the league, the NYXL, on the stage when we come back.